Dear Phenomenal Woman, Phenomenal Woman by Maya Angelou. Pretty women wonder where my secret lies. I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model size. But when I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies. I say, it's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the stride of my step, the curl of my lips. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, that's me. I walk into a room just as cool as you please, and to a man, the fellows stand or fall down on their knees. Then they swarm around me, a hive of honeybees. I say, it's the fire in my eyes and the flash of my teeth, the swing in my waist and the joy in my feet. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, that's me. Men themselves have wondered what they see in me. They try so much, but they can't touch my inner mystery. When I try to show them, they say they still can't see. I say it's in the arch of my back, the sun of my smile, the ride of my breasts, the grace of my style. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, that's me. Now you understand just why my head's not bowed. I don't shout or jump about or have to talk real loud. When you see me passing, it ought to make you proud. I say, it's in the click of my heels, the bend of my hair, the palm of my hand, the need for my care. 'Cause I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, that's me. To all the phenomenal women out there, we say thank you. We salute you for the impact that you make daily. We salute you for the many ways that you lead in your families, you lead in your communities, you lead in your careers, and in the other ways that you lead, we say thank you. Women, phenomenal women, make great strides, connecting and communicating, uplifting and encouraging, loving and providing. Phenomenal women, we say thank you. Everything that you do makes an impact, and we want you to know that you matter. Your voice matters. Your seat at the table matters. Remove all fear and doubt because you matter. You are phenomenal, leading in ways that others can't. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. We are glad that you could be here with us today. My name is Jen Harris, and I am the founder of Connected to Lead. And I want to give a special welcome and thank you to you for being here today. So, welcome, phenomenal women. We appreciate you. We salute you. We know that you are doing amazing things, and we honor you today. Today is going to be awesome. It is going to be just a phenomenally packed program. We have some amazing speakers today, which I'm really excited about. And so we actually want to have you all type in the chat, tell us where you're from. We know that we had some registrants who are from other states. So we're excited to have you here. And so if you see at the bottom of your screen, there is something that says chat. So feel free to type in where you're from. Additionally, you also see something down at the bottom of your screen, or if you're using an iPad, it may be at the top. That has Q&A. And so the Q&A box is actually going to be used to type any questions that you have for our speakers, and opportunities for you to ask them whatever it is that you're thinking about. So we want to use the chat box to type in all of the other things. So just wanted to give that disclaimer before we jump into things. So who is Connected to Lead? What is Connected to Lead? What do we do? Connected to Lead is a nonprofit organization that focuses primarily on leadership development. You'll have an opportunity to learn more about our programs later, but we wanted to make sure we put on this amazing summit as an opportunity to provide you women with phenomenal speakers, lots of information and empowerment, opportunities to be able to connect. The other thing that we thought about too is, hey, we want everyone to feel comfortable, to be able to let your hair down, to not feel like you have to get dressed up and sit in front of a camera. So we did it through webinars. So you will see us. However, we will not see you, and the other participants will not see you as well. So feel free to kick back. We want you to listen intently, to ask questions, to engage with everyone, and just making sure you have opportunities to support one another and connect in different ways. And so I again want to say thank you very much for being who you are, for being an inspiration to me. I'm so glad we have so many amazing women who are interested in attending today. And I'm just hopeful that you will walk away just feeling inspired and connected. And so we actually have a question that we are going to ask you all, because we want to find out a little bit about you. And so our first panel this morning, which will be coming up shortly, is focused on balance. So how about we type in the chat, what are some of the things that we are currently balancing? Like, what are some of the things you are juggling, right? As phenomenal women, we do so much. We are doing so much. And it's an opportunity for us to just sit back and go, wow, this is amazing. So I see we have Veronica says balancing work and personal time. Yes, I can definitely relate to that. Cedrina says school and motherhood. Tracy says work, family, faith. Edwina, work, family, parenting. I'm seeing a lot come through right now. Personal time and work, school. So many hats, right? How do you keep up with everything? And so this is a space to really have transparent and honest conversations. So use this time today to be able to do that. And so with that, I want to actually transition us. We have a phenomenal woman coming up. Her name is Councilwoman Paulette Francis. She is with the City of Gardena, and she has some words to share with you, ladies. Take it away. So Paulette is going to come on in just a moment. She is going to turn on her video and also unmute her mic, and you all will have an opportunity to connect with her. So let's give it a moment. And while we do that, I'm going to look at some other things in the chat. Oh, the other thing I want to mention about the chat is if you look at it, it says to all panelists or all panelists and participants. So we would love for you to share the information with everyone. So you can click all panelists and attendees, and you will be able to share with everyone else. So let's do that.
Okay. So Jen, if you could start my video, it says you cannot start your video because the host has stopped it. So you can.
Yeah, let me take a look. Let me take a look at that. 1 second. All right. So this is interesting. 1 sec, everyone.
Let's see, microphone. Choose virtual background, choose. I'm good.
Yeah, Paulette, I'm not sure what's going on. So what we're going to do is we'll actually get a video up of Mayor Serta, and we'll get your video figured out. Okay?
No problem.
Awesome. Thank you.
Greetings, everyone. This is your Mayor, Tasha Serta, from the City of Gardena, and I would like to welcome you to the 2021 Summit on Phenomenal Women Who Lead. Now, I'm sorry I can't be there with you today, but just know that you're going to hear from some great speakers on today's panel, and you're going to hear subject matters like the Balancing Act, health is wealth, money matters, and so much more. Now, I know that sometimes life throws you all sorts of obstacles and curves, but just know that you are strong and you can push through anything. Now, I'd just like to take a moment to recognize some pretty historical women in today's society. For the first time in the County of Los Angeles, we have an all-female board of supervisors, and I think that is pretty awesome. Also, out of the state of California, we have for the very first time the first female Vice President of the United States of America, and I think that deserves a round of applause. Now, if these women can attain the goals that they went after, so can you, because I believe that you are strong, you are able, and you are phenomenal.
Hello, ladies. I'm Tamala Lewis, the Senior Director for Community Affairs in the Foundation for Dignity Health Sports Park, AEG. I just wanted to take a moment to say I thank you for every single thing that you are doing in the community and beyond. This has been one heck of a year, And truly, I understand as a mom and as a wife and as a person that works in sports and entertainment that's been shut down since March 16th of last year and still trying to get back on track. I understand, but I also want you to know and understand that it's okay not to be okay. You know what? We can be strong, but we also will have our challenging days. And I just want you to know that's okay. It truly is. You know what? We're women. We are strong individuals. You are a queen, and you deserve every single thing that comes your way. Continue to be that queen that fixed those other queens' crown, even if it's a little crooked and you don't share it with the world. You are fabulous, and I just want to send you many blessings along the journey in 2021. God bless.
All right, Councilwoman Francis, there we go.
Here we are. Good morning. My name is Paulette C. Francis, Councilwoman of the great city of Gardena, AKA the city where opportunity awaits. Oh, and by the way, I highly recommend the city of Gardena if you're looking to relocate or have a desire to change your geography. I also proudly serve as a public school teacher of a first and second multi-grade class for the Inglewood Unified School District. Before I go on, I'd like to take a moment to thank Jennifer Harris for bringing into fruition the idea that there should be an event that provides women with an opportunity to gain the knowledge and encouragement that will empower them to seek, pursue, and compete in today's world. Sorry, I've got to mute my phone. My goodness. But we go on. I am deeply honored to have been chosen to welcome you and to offer perhaps a few words of encouragement to the Phenomenal Women Lead Summit. You are welcome to dare to dream, seek new adventures, to consider the what ifs, to make connections, and to renew your determination to pursue your purpose and press on. You see, I believe everyone is born with a dream and created for a purpose. You are not here by accident. The problem is that sometimes because of life choices, circumstances, and missed opportunities, we might end up on the wrong path, delaying your destiny, and instead of trusting our journey, we end up second guessing ourselves. But starting today, I want you to take hold of your destiny. Don't be scared, as the kids say. Embrace that dream. Instead of doubt, trust your journey. And don't just follow your dream. You know how we all say to people, oh, just follow your dreams. No, I want you to chase it down. In fact, don't just chase it, run it down. Grab it and hold on to it and don't let go until it becomes real and you have been blessed to live in the reality of your dreams. And then one day you'll hear one of the favorite phrases a dear friend of mine named Marquita loves to hear. And it goes like this. And she went on to become. And she went on to become. She went on to become in spite of. She went on to become because of. She went on to become surprisingly enough. She went on to become instead of. She went on to become. The phrase speaks reams about soaring above all that would attempt to hinder, impair, discourage, and simply just not have any expectation that one could possibly amount to anything. It speaks to the tenacity and strength of the human spirit. It speaks to succeeding those lonely journeys, late night worries, clueless times when one have absolutely no idea about anything. Because you see, there are incredible resources for those who people believe in, for people who others decide to value. But for the one that no one has any expectation, they have to find. No, they have to make their resources. They are in it alone every step of the way in this earthly realm. And when they arise out of the empty abyss, my Lord, she went on. She left behind all that kept her from her dream and became. So no matter where you are, go on to become. For the journey is not over until it's over. And the best part is that you're not alone. You never were. She went on to become in spite of. She went on to become because of. She went on to become surprisingly enough. She went on to become instead of. Now, I'm going to pause here for a moment before I finish briefly. I'm going to ask your indulgence. I want you to take out your cell phone and take that selfie. You know, we're always doing those selfies. I got mine right here. There you are. Let's see. Take your selfie now. Okay. Now, as I finish my presentation, I want you to look at that selfie because just in case you haven't discovered your future self, or you need to renew your identity, or reacquaint yourself, or because you might need a little reminder, let me introduce you to you by saying, she went on to become the phenomenal you. Phenomenal women lead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Francis. We appreciate you. That was powerful. Thank you very much. Yes, ladies, share those selfies, post them, tweet them. You all are amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you again for your inspiring words. So with that, we are now going to go into our first panel, the Balancing Act. So our panel is moderated by Jasmine Phillips, who is the founder of Lunchbait. Additionally, our panelists are Francesca Douglas Franco with Human Save, Gabrielle Alman with Brain and Bullish, and Graciela Rodriguez with the BHS Teach Adam Project. With that, ladies, take it away.
Hey, Jen, I think we need to be co-hosts to share our video too, or excuse me, our video as well.
Yep, I got it. Thank
Awesome.
you for
Thank
that.
you.
Who knew? Who knew? All right, we are getting them going. All right, Gabby, Francesca, Jasmine. All right, let's move down the list. All right, and Gracie. All right, you are good to go.
All right, welcome everybody. I'm Jasmine, and this is the Balancing Act panel for the Phenomenal Women. I would say balancing is probably the most important thing for phenomenal women. Work-life balance is essential for every phenomenal woman. So as we get started, we have 3 phenomenal panelists. And I want to ask a question to the audience, okay? How would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 in your work-life balance? So 10 being, I got this, and 1 being, who is balanced and why have I never met her before? Okay, so I'm seeing some 5. Oh, I saw a 9, nice. I saw a 10. Excellent. So you guys are pretty good at balancing, okay? But sometimes we get some things that throw us off balance a little bit. So we're going to talk about a lot of those things today. How do we manage balancing our lives? We have in our panel today, we have, let's see, Francesca with Human Save. We have Gabby from Brain and Bullish, and we have Gracie Rodriguez from BHS Teach and ADAM Project. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with Francesca. So tell us a little bit about yourself and some of the things that you're balancing.
Sure. So I am the founder and executive director of Human Save, which is a mental health nonprofit that provides therapy to human trafficking survivors ages 2 and up and their families. I'm also on the board of the Long Beach Chamber of Commerce Women's Business Council. I'm very active in the Long Beach Human Trafficking Task Force. I have a 7-year-old daughter, a 10-month-old baby, and of course, happily married. There's just, it's a lot to balance.
Mhm.
Add to that distance learning, suddenly having to be almost like a teacher for my second grader. And I guess that, the pandemic as well has thrown a lot of things off course, and Human Save is growing, which is a great thing. But you hear my tenor. And it's just, this balancing act, it's a constant, it's on a continuum. Some days I'm a 2, some days I'm a 10,
Mhm.
and I just have to make peace with that, and continue striving to go forward.
Okay. How do you balance the emotion of things? I know you say you work with children that are being trafficked. I know that's got to be heavy. So how do you deal with that and, your personal balance?
Right. That's a really good question. People send me all of the news, that there's a lot of things being covered on human trafficking. I tend to read the headline and skim through the rest, and I rarely watch the documentaries and the videos and all of that, just because that is my life. I'm entrenched in our clients' cases. I'm emotionally invested in their well-being and their healing. I have 2 babies of my own. And when I got into this, I didn't expect to be working with children, especially so young.
Yeah.
And I would say that the majority of our cases are, under 15 years old. So it's been very difficult. If I were to completely inundate myself with the news and stuff like that, it would be very difficult. But I
Yeah.
try to find time for myself as well, as an individual, not as a mom or a wife or, a part of Human Save, to play guitar, to read, even if sometimes that means I'm staying up till 2 in the morning when
Right.
everyone's asleep. But yeah, I think that is how I kind of tend to balance it. I try to stay away from too much of the gory details of these other cases. I try to remind myself that there's hope, in mental health. That's really the gift that we get, is that we get to watch the healing. We don't just get them at their worst and then who knows what happens. So I hope that answers your
Absolutely. Thank
question.
you. Let's see. Gracie, tell us a little bit about yourself and some of the things you're balancing.
Hi everyone, my name is Gracie Rodriguez. I'm a recent graduate from Cal State Dominguez Hills with a major of human services and concentration in mental health. So I myself, I'm also a mom of 2. As you guys can see, I have a 7-now-year-old and a 5-year-old. I could say one of the things that I'm balancing is I recently got my son diagnosed with autism and ADHD. So one of the things that I have to balance myself is finding the right resources for my son, having to also be an advocate for my daughter as well. So try to find, educational system for both of them, not let one of them out, so treat them equally. It's really challenging. And just like everybody else, I come to a point that I'm a 1 sometimes when it comes to balancing. I have mentioned, I have family, school, work. So timing and scheduling is so important. Having that time schedule, it actually helps me a lot, and I'm pretty sure that helps a lot of you, because having that time schedule, it also helps when you have children with you, and having that patience, and having that time to meditate, because sometimes we all need to meditate and have like a pull-stop moment and just forget about everything and everything, forget for a minute, that you're a wife. Forget for a minute that you're a worker, that you're a helper, because some of the times it's really important to take care of oneself before you begin to help someone else. Before you begin to help family, help in the workplace, you have to maintain your healthy side, your self-esteem, take care of your self-esteem. You know, it's really important. So another is organization. I'm the type of person that I have to have everything organized, or else, you know, I feel that I'm all over the place. So that's one of the things. So by having time, patience, organization, and meditation, that equals balance for me.
Absolutely. Yes. I think that all phenomenal women are lifelong learners. So could you tell us a little bit about when you were going to school? There's some women that go to school and they don't get to finish because they're focusing on the kids, or they're focusing on other aspects of life. How did you pull through, let's say, when you had a final that was due, and then you still have to make sure that your kids are receiving their education?
So, one thing that helped me a lot in the Human Services Department is being part of the Student Association, which is HUSA. And in HUSA, it taught me how to balance everything. And it's all going to be okay. Like we have heard, it's okay, like when you don't pass that exam, and a lot that helped me were other women in class. And, to me, my biggest role model were those single moms. My respect to all of those single moms, all of those single parents, because I'm like, if they were able to pull through, why can't I? So that's what helped me. Seeing those moms pushing, seeing those moms going through challenges themselves, that's what helped me. And I have to say that I was in a great department. That the Department of Human Services, they helped me so much. And also my internships. One of my internships, I actually, before getting hired to the Teach and Adam project, I was an intern. So my supervisor at the time, he became my mentor. And till this day, I have to thank him, because he said, you're going to push, and I know that you're going to finish. And I'm not going to let you stop until you finish. So till this day, Dr. Wendell, thank you so much. Thank you so much, because I have to really thank him, because when I was at a point that I was throwing that towel away, he was there for me. Another great inspiration for me is one of my cousins, my oldest cousins, that she's presently here. Thank you so much, cousin Inocenta. You were a great inspiration to us. Even though we grew out in a community where there were gang affiliations, drugs involved, we managed to pull through and become successful and become a phenomenal woman. And before I finish, I would like to leave with you ladies with a quote, and it goes, emotions can be the enemy if you give into your emotion. You lose yourself. You must be at one with your emotions, because the body would always follow your mind.
Absolutely. So I'm hearing we have to have self-care. We have to not be afraid to find resources, find those people that we can lean on. Let's say, Francesca, tell us a little bit about you and some of the things that you're balancing.
Thank you, meaning Gabrielle.
Oh, sorry. Gabriella.
I knew what you meant.
We heard from Francesca already.
No worries. I knew what you meant. So, hey, everyone. I'm Gabby. And just like the other esteemed panelists, I'm so proud to be a part of. I have children that I care for. It's a big part of my balancing act. I have a 6-year-old, and I also have an infant, very much like you, Francesca. And in addition to balancing their needs, and which include, social, emotional, their educational needs, their developmental needs, I also try to find a way to fulfill, my own needs, my own need to be creative and to feel productive with my work. So for about 10 years, I was a contractor and consultant in a pretty intense field in Homeland Security and humanitarian aid. But I've owned my own LLC for a couple years now, and have been thinking through where do I want to take that in the future? And with the pandemic, my focus has shifted as of this year. And so it's been really hard to have this vision in my mind of where I want this LLC, this business to go, while also just really caring so much and managing a lot of unpredictable, I don't even know what you call them. I just call them unpredictables at the time, which includes virtual learning, not knowing when my daughter will go to school and how to support her, just general stress of living in a pandemic and not truly understanding what that means and what the new normal is going to be. Also, maintaining my relationships with people, and also managing my emotions versus my expectations. I notice on the days that I have really the toughest times, it's because my expectations of what I can accomplish and what I expect of other people they're just not matched with reality. The things that do help me balance or have a sense of balance is, first, I think about a quote or a bit from a sermon I heard many, many years ago, which is, for some of us, we can never be all the things all the time, every day. Some days I have to think of, okay, I'm just going to make the priority for today to be the best mom I can be and teacher I can be to my daughter, and everything else is just going to have to fall to the side. And then sometimes it's the next day or 2 days later, it's, you know what, I really need to prioritize my work. So I can't do everything with my children that I would normally do or I might want to do that day. And it just kind of depends on what needs most of my attention that day. I noticed that when I do focus on feeding my spiritual self, so for me, that's my faith, doing a devotional in the morning or doing worship at night, it completely transforms. It's my anchor for the day, and helps me to be a better, much more pleasant person. Also, when I can, getting some physical activity, getting some fresh air, it's so easy to be in the house all day, it changes my mood. And then also just connecting with people and finally getting to a space where I both ask for help and receive help. It helps me be better for everyone else. So those are just a few things.
Gabby, when I had my firstborn, I felt kind of like a guilt when I went back to work.
Mm-hmm.
Did you experience that? And what would be your advice to some women that are going through that period? Or even if it's not a kid, if they're a caregiver for a parent and they have to make that decision, do I work or do I stay in the home?
I didn't feel guilt. I actually felt more, I felt this really heavy tension and stress. I felt like I was in a fight for my identity at the time. I was working at home with my daughter about half the week. And then the other half of the week she'd be in daycare. This is when she was just a baby. And it just felt really hard at the time. I knew what I needed, and I knew that she would be, she would get kind of the support and developmental support that she would need in daycare. So it helped me feel better about having her there. But trying to figure out how to squeeze in time to do work, which at the time was a big source of my identity and sense of validation, was really the toughest part.
Absolutely.
Does that answer your question a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. Let's talk about a balanced day. So for you, what does a balanced day look like? And I want to open this up to the audience as well. So just go ahead and put in the chat. For you, the ideal balanced day, what would that look like? So let's start. Francesca, what does that look like for you?
Ooh, well, for me, that means waking up, being able to get my 7-year-old ready for school, and then having time to play with my my infant for at least an hour or two before having to start my meetings. I think that on my happiest days, that's kind of the pattern. So that means not starting any meetings until maybe 11:30 or 12, which means I can also have lunch with my 7-year-old. It doesn't happen every day, definitely, but I think that when I'm able to play, like to actually enjoy their company and not just tell them, hold on, wait, until the end of the night, I get a lot of my own needs met through playing with them. So
Absolutely. I'm seeing a lot in the chat, just being able to eat 3 meals, right? Finding that time. Yeah. Let's see, Gracie, how about, yeah.
See, for me, it's finding, going back with balance, finding the time, because, the play is different with my son and my daughter. So I have to find the time to be able to help play with my son, but then play with my daughter, have the time, with playing with both of them. And, when COVID hit, it made it more challenging because I was at home and they're like, oh, it's playtime with mommy, because mommy's home. So I had, to find ways where they would understand that, okay, this is time for mommy that has to work. And then this is, playtime. So that's one thing in timing that I had to work on, especially since COVID hit. Yeah, to do that with my kids, because I mean, they're kids, they think that, oh, mommy's home, so it's playtime because mommy's home. Yeah.
And what about your partners? They want their time too, right?
Oh no, definitely. He's like, okay, this is my time. You guys had your mommy time. So most definitely, yes.
Okay, fine. Gabby, how about you?
What my day looks like, ideally right now, it's when my children are okay, I'm okay. And with virtual school, much like Francesca and Gracie, the entire first half of my day is dedicated to breakfast, getting my daughter through school, being with her. And then after that, it's kind of open. It's challenging at the moment because literally right across from me is my husband's desk. And so he's trying to work at the same time I am. To be honest, it's very challenging to find time for my work these days, but I think that will change once my daughter is in physical school. And as we move into summer where things will start to go to our new normal, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, definitely. I'm seeing some good things in the chat. Taking a walk, right? Just finding 30 minutes for yourself to just breathe in that fresh air and take that walk. Yeah, absolutely. So how have you guys been keeping it all together specifically during the pandemic? Let's see, I'll open that up. Whoever wants to take it.
me, it's been delegating. Really being able to trust our volunteers at Human Save and some of our staff with, heavier tasks has been so helpful. And I think we're a very, very close team. So they understand, I have a baby that I have to feed every 2 hours. I mean, she's bigger now, but she still demands being fed about 2 to 3 hours. And just being able to have that support from other people, from my friends, from my family, and that understanding, camaraderie, like with this event today, it's so helpful.
I would add on to that, there are some days where I don't have it all together. There are days where it's just kind of like all spilling over. But what has helped me is asking for help. So I will ask my mom, can you spend time with my eldest daughter? I know that she needs a little bit more attention and I just can't give it to her today because my infant needs me a little bit more. Or just even asking my husband, I know you have a project right now, but I really, just for my own self, I need to get this proposal out the door, or I need to send in, this email, and otherwise it'd be difficult for me. That's been really helpful for myself, just asking for help and being open to letting go of some things that I would usually take care of on my own.
And to add to that is, I know we try to be Wonder Woman, we try to be superheroes, but it's okay. It's okay, like you said, Gabrielle, to ask for help. There's people there for you that want to show support for you. I am blessed to have a husband that is on the same boat as I am. So he's really supportive, he's really helpful. And also my kids' grandparents. I really have to thank my parents. Like right now, I literally ran to drop them off because I said, you know what, mommy needs time right now, so everything needs to be a little bit silent, or else you guys would hear screaming in the background. But also time for yourself. It's okay to ask for time for yourself. I myself have to tell my parents, you know what, I just give me 20 minutes, before picking them up, from their home, because they do their virtual class at home, at my parents' home. So I told them, I know that I'm done with work, but please just give me those 20 minutes. And believe it or not, those 20 minutes help. We need that self-care, because if we don't take the time for ourselves, like I said before, we can help other people. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Sometimes we don't have it all together. Sometimes we do need help. And this is one of the things I discussed with Jen, is this idea of phenomenal women being expected to be superheroes and not being expected to have any vulnerabilities. So when we look at the media and sometimes in our own workspaces, if you show any vulnerability, then you're not considered this phenomenal woman anymore. Tell me a little bit about your guys' experience with that and how you've tried to combat that idea.
I would like to add, in my personal experience with culture, and going back with school. I remember when I first met my husband, in the family, they're like, she's going to school? What do you mean she's going to school? Your wife's supposed to be at home. Your wife shouldn't be working. And I had to fight that and, make them realize there's no such thing as a perfect mom, but I will try to be my best as a mom, as a wife, and as a helper as well. Just like I advocate for my kids, I would like to be an advocate for someone else's kids. I work with the LGBTQ community, and these youth, they need someone to advocate for them, be a voice for them. So it took a while for family to understand that yes, it's okay to have an education, it's okay to be a working woman, and at the same time be a good mom to your kids.
Absolutely. Gabby, what do you think?
I've gotten the most, I'm trying to think of the word. The best relationships that I've had in my life are with women who've been very honest and transparent about where they are in their life and the challenge, and particularly the challenges that they have, and the not so great parts about all the responsibilities and the dreams that they have, and what they encounter when they go through that. So that when I've had to go through those things myself, I know that I'm not by myself. I'm not the first person to go through this, and kind of give me a guide as to how to move forward. So thinking about the women in my life who've been that to me, I want to be that to other women. And it gives me the courage to be open and transparent. And I try to be that for other people in my life. So, in this panel saying like, yeah, there are some days I really do not have it together. There are days where I'm just like, I don't know how to balance it all. I don't know how to maintain, all these different elements of my life that are important to me in a way that's fair for everyone. So in general, I find vulnerability to be a positive, to be a superpower. I try to think through like how, what are the best ways to share in a responsible way, in a transparent way in this time. And, hopefully it helps and it benefits other people in my life too.
Absolutely. Thank you all. This has been a great discussion. Again, phenomenal women. We need to balance. We've got some great ideas here that self-care is a must. Reaching out, finding those resources, finding your you time, and, you know, just going forward. Absolutely. Thank you, Francesca. Thank you, Gabby. Thank you, Gracie. And we're going to go ahead and turn it back over to Jen.
Thank you, Jasmine.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone, my name is Lily Trujillo Paquet, and why am I a phenomenal woman? Well, I have to say that in December 2013, I was challenged with the biggest event that can ever happen in my life. My daughter passed away from a street racing crash, and I just knew in that moment, after going through everything that I was going through, losing a child, that I didn't want anybody to go through it. I didn't want any parent to ever lose a child, and I didn't know what I was going to do. But all of a sudden, I ended up with a nonprofit, which is called Street Racing Kills. When I first started speaking at schools, is when I think I started finally feeling that smile in my face again. I started feeling like I had her with me, and that was a way of maybe overcoming what had happened to me and turn it into something positive, which was to save a life. At least just one life. Every time we go speak at a school, saving one life just means the world to me. Talking to teenagers and doing everything that I do and creating all these programs and just growing and growing and growing. It's been an amazing journey with a lot of love, a lot of pain, and a lot of hope that it doesn't happen to anyone. So I feel blessed. I feel like I have somehow developed something with Street Racing Kills, something that can help teenagers everywhere. And I'm actually feeling really good right now talking to all of you. And thank you so much, Connected to Lead, for everything that you do and having me here today.
So thank you again, Gabby, Jasmine, Gracie, Francesca. We really do appreciate you all for sharing today. We thank you for that phenomenal panel. It was awesome. And I also want to say thank you very much to Lily Trujillo for an amazing video and sharing with us. We have some phenomenal women today that are going to be sharing their stories as well. And as you heard, Lily experienced a great tragedy in her life, the loss of a child. And, you know, I don't wish that on any woman. And I applaud Lily for her inspiration in the way that she is leading as a phenomenal woman, because she was able to use her tragedy and turn it into something amazing, which is Street Racing Kills, one of our partners. And we truly do appreciate the phenomenal work that Lily and her team do every single day. And so with that, we are now going to bring up our young poet. I am so thrilled to introduce Caitlin Logan, who is going to be sharing a poem that she wrote. And Caitlin's poem is called I Am Able. And so we will have Caitlin do her poem, and you all will also have an opportunity if you want to ask Caitlin some questions. So with that, Caitlin, take it away.
I am able. Tomorrow I'll rise through the dust and the tides with my head up high. I am able. Through the hatred, the unjust, the limitations, yet I rise, unrealized. As a woman, I will change history. I am able. Thank you.
Thank you, Caitlin, for sharing. I just want to ask you a couple of questions, if you don't mind. And first, I want to say you are gorgeous. I love your energy. Can you let everyone know how old you are?
I'm 11 years old.
11 years old. You hear that, phenomenal women? Kaylin is 11 years old. Phenomenal. Look at the chat. Oh my goodness. Adorable, amazing. You rock. You are able. Wow. Awesomeness. Look at that, Caitlin. How amazing are you? You are our phenomenal young woman, and we appreciate you. And so I also want to find out from you, what made you decide to write the poem?
At first, it was a school assignment, and I was kind of inspired by Angela. I forgot her name. Maya Angelou, but I really loved her poem, the way she expressed how we as women can accomplish anything we put our mind to, and I just was so inspired by that.
Wow, I love that. I really, really love that. So tell us, what is your hope for the future? Like, what do you hope for the future?
I hope that we as women will be recognized for what we do, our contribution for everything that we put towards the community, and everything that we sacrifice for our family, our friends, our neighbors. We sacrifice so much for everyone.
Wow, thank you for that. I just want to say, wow, okay? I want to say, wow, wow, wow. I'm trying to hold back the tears, seriously, because just what you are saying is extremely important. And I just want you to know that you are amazing. And just like our opening video said, you matter. So continue to make an impact on the world. And we're excited to have you here with us today. So thanks again.
Thank you. I will.
Awesome. So thank you, everyone. We are now going to move into our first break. So it will be a 5-minute break. And we are going to have some affirmations that are going to be shared across the screen. So feel free to look at those affirmations, just kind of let them sink in. Additionally, for everyone, while the video is being pulled up, we are going to have more opportunities for connections and sharing. And so everyone enjoy your break. All right, welcome back, everyone. We hope you enjoyed your break. It was a quick one, but hopefully you were able to take a stretch break and to be able to relax a little bit. We know that folks have been typing in the chat. We are extremely excited about that. Just seeing all the different things that you all have been typing in there and letting us know. This next hour, we have several things coming up. We are excited because we have It's Time to Overcome with Amira Owanoha. I apologize, Amir, for butchering your name. We also have a panel that will be focused on health, and it is titled Health is Wealth. And then we will also have a video shared by Nikia, who is another phenomenal woman. So with that, I am going to turn it over to the amazing, phenomenal Amira to share with us. It is time to overcome.
Hi, ladies. I'm so excited to be here. First, before I begin, can we type in the chat, thanks to Jen and her team for putting together this amazing summit. Just share with her something that you have enjoyed thus far. I know that it's been a lot of work as a nonprofit founder, knowing the behind the scenes that takes part in this. So just thank them really quick, give them a shout out for their hard work and how they literally did their blood, sweat, and tears to make this the best event for you all. Amazing. Yes. Thank you, guys. I also want to thank you and your team, Jen, for the opportunity to come and share my heart. I don't take it lightly. So who am I? My name is Amira. I'm a Christian. I love Jesus with my whole heart. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I'm an author. I've written 2 devotional books, one called Seeking Joy, Finding Joy in Your Motherhood Journey, and then the second one, Seeking Truth and 30 Days Encountering the Lover of Your Soul. Like I said, I started a nonprofit, A Tribe Called Mom, 2 years ago, and I'll share a little bit more about that in this quick sharing I'm going to be doing, but it's for pregnant teens and single mom. We just come alongside them. We offer them different resources in the community, Bible studies, things like that. And so that's been really great. And I'm also an overcomer. And so I am someone that actually struggled with the topic that I'll be covering for a very, very long time. And today I'm going to be talking about fear. That 4-letter word has emotionally crippled so many of us for so long. It's prevented us from fulfilling our callings and walking in the path that God has for us. We fear failure. We fear the unknown. We fear what people will think about us choosing courage and stepping out. We fear that we heard wrong or we're going to get it wrong. We fear of financial worries, right? Last year, we were fearing sickness. But something that the Lord kind of put on my heart last year, this quote that I want to share with you guys. It says, the only way to dismantle fear in your life is to look it in the face and walk through the process of overcoming it and the emotions that follow it. I'm going to share that again. The only way, sister, for you to dismantle fear in your life, whatever that situation is to look it in the face and to walk through the process of overcoming it and the emotions that follow it. And like I said, this is a quote that God put on my heart last year when he challenged me personally to push past my fears and begin to create content that encourages women to do the introspective work that would prevent them from taking the steps towards their dreams. Little did I know that my steps past fear last year would set me up to be here at this summit, encouraging you women to do the very thing that I was afraid to do. For me, when this quote came up, I was like what maybe some of you guys are currently doing when you're facing that mountain of fear in whatever area in your life. I began listing reasons as to why things wouldn't work, the connections and money I didn't have in my corner to seek success. I began wondering what my family would think, what my friends would think, would I be accepted? And before we really dig in about how to overcome fear, I'm also a school counselor, so I'm going to talk about some of the emotional stuff. Feeling fear is not bad. It's actually normal, and I believe it could be used as a good thing. Sometimes we take steps towards our dreams while experiencing fear, but fear can actually be used to motivate you. For example, fearing you'll miss the deadline helps you meet your goal. Fearing that, if you eat too many donuts, you're going to be sick, right? There's a common sense that comes with, if I do this, this can actually hurt me. But I found that it gets bad when we allow it to paralyze us, allow it to keep us stagnant in our life and prevent us from beginning to build the legacies that we want to leave for our children and our children's children. Am I right? So the question of the day, how do we overcome fear? 1, we take those negative thoughts captive. Don't allow your fears to speak louder than your courage or your hopes. It's all in here. Oftentimes what I've learned in walking out from fear in my life or helping others walk out in fear is that we begin to create scenarios and scenes in our mind that of the like complete worst thing that could happen. And sometimes we make it way worse in our head than what ends up actually happening. And so how can you do that practically? Begin to speak truths to those fear. Affirmations, we just had a 5-minute affirmation video that was amazing. Doing affirmations every day. For me, I do that. Mine is scripture based. Like I said, I'm a woman of faith. And so I speak what God has to say about me. I speak to the mountains that are facing me. And that helps me overcome my fear or walk out in areas despite my fear. Number 2, acknowledging what you're giving your power to. Is it lies? Are you giving your power to lies? Is it to what other people think? That's a big reason why a lot of people experience fear, is thinking about other people and being moved by them. And I'll share a little bit more about that later. Is it to your past, saying, this is who I am. I could never amount to such, such, and such. I could never do that, right? X, Y, and Z. This would never work for me. I'm just this small person from the small town. Is it to the lies that people in authority spoke over you, saying that you can't do this, or you can't amount to this, or you can't do something else? You know, I've learned that if I continue to be afraid of what others say, whether it's good or bad, I can't properly impact them. For me, I've learned and I've seen people be tossed around, exerting energy, trying to please people who one day like things a certain way, and then the next minute they're part of the cancel culture and hating everything about anything that you try to do for them. But as you gain confidence in yourself and who God made you to be, the fear of man begins to break and you won't be as moved by their opinions. I read a quote the other day and I love it. It says, I cared about your opinion until I tried paying my bills with it. I cared about your opinion until when it really mattered and I tried to use it for something that actually impacted my life, we saw that it was of no value. But I also want to say, I feel like us women, back in high school and middle school, there was a lot of cattiness, but I feel like as you grow, women, you'll start to see that not everyone is out for your failure. And there are women out there that genuinely want to see your success. I have a sister, she's my best friend. She started a business a couple years ago. And so there was a season where she was like posting things, you know how we subconsciously post things on social media. My hate is this, my hate is this, da, 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 da. And I said, I wrote her and I said, man, okay, do you actually have a lot of haters? Because every time she's posted something asking for people for feedback or asking for encouragement, she would get hundreds upon hundreds of things of people encouraging her, ways people would support her. And I said, do you really have that many people that hate you? Or is this just something that a wall that you're trying to build to protect your heart from getting hurt for when maybe 1 or 2 haters come by and say something that would maybe try to shake you? And she was like, you're right. Like, I actually do have a lot of people in my corner. And so, like I said, I really believe that sometimes we put up this wall to protect us so that we don't get hurt when 1 or 2 naysayers come. And really, their opinion doesn't really matter. I feel like a lot of you women are hoping, a lot of what you're hoping, planning, and envisioning about your life is on the other side of that fear that you're experiencing. We're here at this summit for phenomenal women that are leading in their areas of influence. And for me, I'm huge on words. So I looked up what phenomenal means. And this is what I found on dictionary.com. It says very remarkable or extraordinary. And that is you, Mama. You are remarkable and extraordinary. I also found this article on LinkedIn that shared, says, phenomenal people take the time to focus on themselves. They focus on their growth so that they can be the best person they can be. They focus on being healthy and leading by example. Phenomenal people invest in themselves so that they can continually maintain a clear focus in life. And like I said, sister, you are phenomenal. So I ask, how long will you let fear paralyze you? How long will you let it take or steal your dreams? I believe that for many of you, it's time for you to silence fear and take steps to focus on your growth so that you can continue to be the best woman that you can be. I believe that for some of you, it's time for you to silence fear and take the necessary steps to focus on your health, physically, spiritually, emotionally, so that you can let your life be the best example for the many people you are called to impact. I believe it's time for many of you to silence fear and take the time to invest in yourself so that you can maintain a clear focus on your vision. You know what your potential is. You know what you can do. Now your job is to act on it. And for me, I started a Tribe Called Mom in spring of 2019, and I had to push past a lot of fear to even start that organization. And so we had our first event December 2019, and honestly, one woman showed up out of pity, but I was like, hey, we got one. We had a ton of food. We got to let her and her family literally leave with bags of food that we provided and encouragement. We prayed over her, all the things. And then we had these plans for 2020, and then 2020 hit. And everything that I planned, that I expected, we were going to do a statewide baby shower, all the things ended up not working. And I was discouraged. I wanted to give up. I remember talking to my husband and I said, babe, I don't know if I can do this. And he was like, just give it time, just give it time. And so then a friend connected me with a woman who has a home for teenage moms. So they're the ages of 11 through 17. And I shared with her my vision, and she shared, Amira, you are an answered prayer. We literally have women ages 18 through 24 that have been wanting support, wanting your group, that have been looking for exactly what your vision is. And mind you, I didn't talk to this woman until just February of this year. And so from all of 2020 until February of this year, I was discouraged, I was afraid, I didn't know what to do. She shared that her team didn't have the capacity to support these women because their focus was on the age group of 11 to 17. And though they tried, they couldn't meet the needs like a Tribe Called Mom's vision is to do. It took time. It took me almost giving up. But as I took steps to overcome and try to get back up and try one last time, the woman came. And we are starting our first huge event this summer, which I'm not going to get into that anymore. But I just really felt like some of you women are kind of where I was. You want to give up, you want to start trying. And I believe that if you don't get anything else from this 15-minute speech, that it's time for you, sister, to overcome. That you need to stop disqualifying yourself. You are needed. Your voice is needed. Your gifts, your vision, those are needed. I believe, like me, there'll be one day when someone comes and says, you are an answered prayer. You're exactly what we've been looking for. So keep going and choose every day to take small steps towards your dreams despite your fear. One day, I believe you'll look back and be amazed at the impact you made in the lives of so many because you chose to take those steps. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amira. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic job. And I just want to share, Amira and I go to the same church. My church is located in Vancouver, Washington, Crossroads Community Church. And Amira was leading a Thrive class for our church and focused on finding your calling. And God placed her on my heart to reach out. And she actually had, I think it was week 2, focused on fear. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is it. And so I just want to express my sentiments for you being here today. Also, what you shared, I was just like, whoa, this is so amazing, because Amira had a vision about this and what she wanted to share. And I know that there are folks who typed in the chat. I saw Christy said, that she needed to hear this today. So thank you very much, Amira, for being phenomenal. And we appreciate you. Thank you. All right. And before we kick off our next panel, I have placed in the chat, we are going to have some affirmations. We want to encourage each of you to write an affirmation or two that you would like to be shared with the other participants today. Something that we've decided to do is have an opportunity to send in the next few months, send out cards that have the affirmations that you all have written. And so your affirmation will actually be sent to another participant. So we're really excited about that. So again, I will put the link in the chat and you can feel free to click on that. Additionally, if you have any questions for our panelists, then please feel free to put those in the Q&A box as well. So we are going to now transition into our next panel, which I'm extremely excited about. It is our Health is Wealth panel. And so our moderator for today is the wonderful, phenomenal Sandy Logan. Also the mother of phenomenal young woman, Caitlin. Additionally, we have Anaí Picasso with Connected to Lead. We have Jocelyn Washington Green with the Center for Cancer Prevention and Treatment, Cancer Research Treatment, and Patrice Martin with Trim Fit for You, Dana Point Wellness. So with that, I am going to pass it over to Sandy. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us this morning. I got to tell you, this has been an amazing Women's Summit. It's been empowering, it's been encouraging, and help changing lives. I hope you're getting as much as I'm getting out of this. I'm gonna have to listen to this video again because I just loved it. It was so wonderful. So let's dive into this. We're talking about health. Health is wealth, right? And we're talking about tell us a little bit about yourself and your health and your wellness journey. Patrice, can you tell me a little bit what you do?
Well, I do nutrition and wellness consulting, and I have nutrition and wellness are my passion, and I have had kind of an interesting journey. I think that God's inspiration comes in a lot of different ways. Sometimes it comes through events that may seem like they're tragic events or very offsetting events. When I was 17 years old, I had a 10-pound ovarian cyst, which was discovered because I was on my way to college, and I was driving up to Santa Barbara, and I rolled my Volkswagen. And so I ended up going to the doctor, and the doctor said, "What is this jelly belly you have here?" Right? So that it turned out it was a benign cyst, but it was 10 pounds. It was the size of a watermelon, right? Sitting inside of my body, which weighed about 110 pounds or maybe 105 at that point, who knows? At any rate, my point is I think that God uses events to put us in a direction. It inspires us in various different ways. And so I became very, very interested in understanding the human body and understanding what, particularly for women, why these things occur. And my brand today is Nutrition Intuition, because I've determined that it's very important to be in touch with yourself and to know yourself better, then women especially have a tendency to focus on those that we love and focus less attention on ourselves. So it's been a passion of mine for my entire life. And it just took me step by step through a various number of journeys, including a lot of exposure and relationships with fantastic innovators in the field of health and wellness and anti-aging. So my journey has been exciting every single day. It's been something that my heart wells up with excitement and passion just in dealing with coming into people's lives and being able to help them learn about themselves, because that's basically what I do.
Well, thank you, Patrice, for sharing that. Ani, can you tell me a little bit about your health and wellness journey?
Yeah, thanks, Sandy. Hi, everyone. I'm Anaí Picasso. And a little bit about myself. I think first and foremost, what has really driven my passion for the work that I do and everything is I'm a daughter of immigrant parents, first-gen student. And I say that because it puts me in this like in-between space that a lot of scholars have talked about, like where you're not 100% in here, but you're also not 100% here. And so I think that experience has really helped me. So currently I'm a therapist, and right now I'm a school therapist, and I have background work in the substance abuse field also. And so being able to be in this in between has also helped me be very observant and very just patient and watchful. And so that's a big part of who I am. And that also is a big part of my wellness and health journey. A lot of the times it's easier for me to step back and just look around. And, you know, like Patrice mentioned, I'm real good at catching what I think the women around me should be doing, like to be taking care of themselves. But I don't always reflect that back on myself, right? I don't want that mirror in front of me. I don't want to look at myself. I want to be able to be of service and to be giving and to help others. And so when I was reviewing these panelist questions, I was thinking like, okay, so when did my wellness journey begin? And I kept trying to think of a date where I had this aha moment where I just decided like, I got to take care of myself and this has to start today. And I could not think of a date. I think my journey began, whether it was conscious or unconscious, when I was really, really little. And something really important that I have learned is it is a journey. So it is okay to reevaluate and pivot. And I have done exactly that multiple times in my journey. And so lately, I've been focusing a lot on being able to really read myself. What is it that my body is telling me? So if my hands start getting a little sweaty, like, okay, so what is it that my body is telling me? And how can I honor my needs and really like be able to identify what is this feeling that is coming up? Do I want to deal with it right now? Is it something that I have to deal with? And how can I do that to best fit my needs? And so I'm, you know, still on that journey, and I want to share that huge, like this just marker in my life was when I think I had a couple of like personal issues going on. I was working, it was lunchtime. I was going to In-N-Out, and my supervisor, amazing woman, she says, and I'm paraphrasing, she was like, oh, you know, can I come with you? And I'm like, sure. So we're in the drive-thru at In-N-Out, and she mentions to me, you know, sometimes people take a mental health day and it's okay. And that validation and that like she kind of checked me, but in the most compassionate way. But she validated my experience, and she said, and it is okay. And again, I'm paraphrasing. That is something that I tell myself, and I repeat those words, and I hear it in her voice. I tell myself all of the time. So yeah, I think I'll end with that.
Well, Annie, thank you for sharing that, because I think it's really important for us to be able to allow ourselves to give that permission to take a day off or to do like a mental health day like you were talking about. I don't think as women, we forget that we're okay that we're not okay that day, and we are okay to take the time to take care of ourselves. So thank you for sharing. Jocelyn, can you tell me a little bit about your health and wellness journey?
Hi, can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Great. Well, my name is Jocelyn Washington Green, and I am a cancer research nurse manager. And I am probably one of the worst people to talk about health because I always say nurses are the worst when it comes to taking care of ourselves because we focus on everybody else. And that's something that I learned very early on in my nursing career. But my own health journey is never ending, as it is for everybody. And it should not ever end because in my field, we are always finding something new that will help us. Like I said, I work in cancer research, so I see it, I'm doing it, I'm interacting with the patients who are on their own health and wellness journey. And it's really important for me to also be an example. So whatever I preach, I teach, I try to actually be that example as well. So my journey is always changing because I'm seeing in my own research that things are changing. So when I see that, oh, you know what, it's better to eat this to prevent this type of cancer, or we should be doing this preventatively to prevent this type of cancer, I'm taking heed and making sure that I look at all the research and I take it to heart and I practice it. And I said it before, nurses are the worst at taking care of ourselves, but we cannot give a lot of ourselves if our bowl is empty. And what we really should be doing, and what I'm always trying to tell my team and myself when I look in the mirror, is fill your cup, fill your bowl to where it's overflowing, or filling, I should say. And it should flow out. And then from that overflow, you should be able to give to others. So that's how I kind of look at my own journey, is I'm trying to constantly fill my bowl, fill my cup so that I can give from that overflow. And it keeps me spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically well. So that's my journey that I'm always going to be on.
Well, thank you again for sharing that, because I think it's important for us to refuel ourselves, to be able to give back to our community and take care of others. So thank you for that insight, because that also helps remind me personally to kind of take care of me as we go along. So now, ladies, let's talk about mental health, nutrition, physical activity, routine doctor visits, essential to our overall health and well-being. Why is it our health and overall wellness important for women particularly? Jocelyn, can you share a little bit of insight over that?
Sure. Our overall health is so important because women, first of all, we're caretakers. Myself, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a granddaughter, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter-in-law. All of those jobs, I guess I should say, they're all caretakers. And so we have to make sure we take care of ourselves. Like I said, we need to fill our bowl. So spiritually, what I personally do, I go to Bible study twice a week. That's something that I actually started during the pandemic, which I'll get into a little later, to fill my spiritual cup, my spiritual bowl. For physical well-being, I try to get out of my office. I work 9 to 5 days a week. And during the pandemic, it was 7 days a week. And I would get out of my office, I would walk. I would take, even if it was 10 minutes. 10 minutes can sometimes be your lifesaver. 10 minutes can be the in-between of you crying because you're so busy, and then just taking a breather and saying, you know what, I got this. What was wrong with me? Literally 10 minutes can do that, and that's from personal experience. For my emotional well-being, we talked about being vulnerable in the very beginning and how phenomenal women aren't supposed to be vulnerable at work. I am so blessed to be at a place, St. Joseph Hospital in Orange, where being vulnerable is a superpower, like one of our panelists said. And being able to pray over my patients, pray with my team members, or even having a room where I can go and take that time for myself to meditate and pray and do what I need to do so that I can emotionally come back and say to my team, we got this. Or I can emotionally come back and say to the patient who just had his or her cancer diagnosis given to them, I can come back to them with my head on and strong.
I think Jocelyn's video just kind of paused for a quick second. So let's, while her internet comes right back to us, let's start with Patrice. Can you share a little information about why it's important for us as women to take care of our women? We have to love technology, right?
Well,
Go ahead, Patrice.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't stepping on Jocelyn. You know, I've worked clinically for many years, and one of the areas was in a clinic, in a physician's office with a women's program that we started up, Women's Fitness and Wellness Program. And one of the things that was really interesting to me in interviewing and setting up a program for women, from young women, early ages, 15, 16 years old, to women that are professional women, women that are housewives, all strata of all demographics. The one thing that I saw is what we've been talking about, where the understanding of themselves was either, if it was a student and a high functioning teen, they were so focused on getting their grades or being involved in their athletics, whatever the particular program that they were on. And stress was a huge, huge factor. And that stress kind of alienated themselves from themselves. And so some of the things that Jocelyn's talking about are critical in our day-to-day routine, just taking those 5 minutes to listen to the birds. And, you know, I have a little thing on my computer that says 70 degrees. That means to stay in balance throughout the day. I have various different little things that I do. And that's what I would try to communicate, you know, with these women. And one of the things I found common, for example, was women who, after they've had their second child, they really had basically were living an out-of-body experience. They no longer were in touch with their own self. They didn't, you know, nutritionally, they were famished nutritionally, and they had, you know, spent all this time devoting it to their families and had left themselves out of the equation. And it was just, you could see that one after the other, after the second child, it was almost like, you know, they really needed to reacquaint themselves with their body and to start understanding what their emotions, what their feelings were, how to particularly be able to be healthy and in balance again. And one of the things I think that happens a lot with women is we think we need to exercise more. And so we do that, you know, we try to fit in exercise, and if we don't exercise, then we feel like we're letting ourselves down, and there's guilt that goes along with it. And one of the things that I always thought that it was important to start with women was how to relax, right? Relaxation techniques, and be able to go get a massage, go and, you know, and take a walk, as Jocelyn's talking about. Take that time for yourself and start there. Start to understand what it is that's important to you. One of the things that I used to do to start with would be say, what are all the things that you want to change about you? You're physically, mentally, spiritually, write them all down. So we'd write them all down. And then I'd say, what's the most important thing here? So we'd kind of clear away all of the things that were, you know, going on in their mind about what they needed to do, their lists, and look at what was the most important thing. And that's the point at which we could start to begin to figure out, give them a tether to be able to unravel that whole ball of string and wax and all of the complicated aspects of their life, and to be able to start again, just setting a base for themselves. who they are, what they are, and what they need. And that is a continuous life journey. But sometimes we do lose the tail end of it. And so we're in the midst of all the things that we know, all the aspects of life, the people that we love, our profession, our concerns for our community, all the various aspects of it. And it becomes all these lists of things to do, and we're doing it. So we feel like we're very involved, but we're really very out of touch with our own ability to stay well and to stay balanced. So I learned what goes on in my world and in my practice is I learn from other people, and I try to help them understand what they already know, because that's where the wisdom of being able to keep going forward is, to understand, what people are going through and to be able to help them to find viable solutions that improve their life. And it's amazing. It's amazing and it's exciting to see the kinds of transformations that go on, starting from that kind of, starting point, that place where they can actually, again, connect with themselves and their own nutrition, intuition. And that becomes, of course, being able to know what foods do, all the complicated things that we read about in the science and all of that. It all happens within our body. It's kind of like you take a car to a mechanic. You have to tell them what it is that you're experiencing. So we have to understand that we know best about our body, and we can understand what foods we react to, what foods give us energy, what foods take energy away from us. So some of those basic principles, I think, are what leads us to balance. And balance is something that we start building and accumulating through day-to-day routine. We first form habits, and then our habits form us. So we have to start building new habits that then give us a more balanced and a pleasant life. So we can then get rid of brain fog and all the things that are blocking us from being able to really access all the virtues and the knowledge and wisdom that we have in such a way that it benefits not only us, but those around us. Because, for families, for friends, for community, people watch you, right? So you can influence others in ways that we don't necessarily recognize. We can influence others by how we act, how we look, how all the ways that, and I don't mean whether you're tall, whether you're short, whether you're, stout, whether you're, skinny, it doesn't matter. I'm saying what we emote from inside. And that comes from being able to really take care of ourselves and love ourselves, and to be able to show people that this life of a balanced life comes, from the inside. It's not something that is achieved through standards of the world, but it's something that you have inside of you that you feel, and that gives you a presence amongst others that they are inspired by, to be able to make their lives better and to figure out how to have balance.
Thank you. I love the idea of just creating a list and being able to share that and explore where we're at, take an inventory of that very moment, so we can start to grow and filter out what we can do to improve our life at that moment. Jocelyn, you're back.
Yeah, so sorry, my internet kind of went out, so I had to move to a different area, but this is kind of part of it, right? You don't break down, you just do what you got to do. That's what women do.
We just adjust. That's all we need to do.
Yeah.
So I have a couple other questions for you ladies. Annie, how about acknowledging the pandemic, the violence against people of color, and social unrest has been exhausting, extremely challenging this year. Additionally, the work industry, you ladies all work in taking care of other people. How are you taking care of yourself during this pandemic?
That's an excellent question. I think some of these things sometimes, for me personally, they just kind of creep up. So sometimes I can watch something on TV or I can hear something and I automatically have a response, whether it's a verbal response, I'm thinking about it, I'm reflecting on it, I'm journaling, there's a response. And I think that helps me process things in a more in a healthier way. I think the danger is when things kind of creep up and I'm not like, it's not at the forefront, it's kind of back here, and it comes out when at the wrong time or when it seems like it's unrelated. And so I've been finding that what's working best for me is I have to constantly just take some time and check in with myself. So even if I'm not like really thinking about something, like I have a lot of conversations with myself. So I'll be like, all right, you got to sit down, you got to, you know, list out all of these things. And as I'm writing, or maybe I'm creating some art, and it's not really like art with the purpose, maybe I'm just scribbling or I'm trying to create a mandala or something, because in that process, things will start coming out. And so I really have to carve some time out to allow myself to sort of do nothing, because in that nothingness, these things will start coming out. And so rather than this stress creeping up and manifesting as me maybe snapping at my sister because she said something and I was already stressed and whatever it may be, right? Because I don't want to do that. I really have to take the time and really think. And all of this stress, I think the harder part is the lack of control. I cannot control the pandemic. I cannot control, you know, histories of like centuries of violence against people of color. I cannot control social unrest and the reactions that that unrest has like received and you know, kind of created. And so because I cannot control that, I have to check in with myself. Well, what is something that I can control? I can only control myself, right? And so being able to really reflect on that, I cannot control that, has been what has been most helpful. And it's not always easy, but that is what's most helpful for me.
Well, thank you for sharing that. The opportunity to be able to express through art and helping you go through that process and learn from that process is really a powerful tool for all of us to take back. Jocelyn, let me get back to you. One of the things that we talked about is taking care of ourselves. How about doctor routine visits? How important is that for us as women to take care of ourselves?
As women, it is really important for us to first develop that routine. I also think that not only as women, we actually are more apt, more than men, to go to the doctor when something's wrong, but all because we know it, it doesn't mean that we take the time to do it. And I've seen it over and over again where a woman said, I had this lump. I had a lump under my armpit. And I just thought, you know what? It's not supposed to be there. I'm aware of that. And I need to make a doctor's visit. I need to make an appointment. But they let it go because of XYZ. And XYZ could be anything. It could be school. It could be taking care of your kids, because now maybe one of your children needs to go to the doctor. So you put what you need to do on the back burner, things like that. And I'm finding that that's happened a lot. And the patient that I come and see, now we're at stage 2, stage 3 breast cancer. But who knows what could have happened when we caught it earlier. And it's such a common story that it's quite scary, actually, to me, because I've done this myself, where I've let something go because I said, I have to go to work. I can't just take time to make an appointment. It's in the middle of the day. It's inconvenient. And I'm just zipping and zooming like that and taking the time, 30 minutes to an hour out of the day to make sure that you are okay, is worth it. It will always be worth it, everybody. And keeping your routine, even if it's yearly, going to go see your doctors, keeping up on that is so critical. Our other panelist said the only reason why she even caught her 10-pound cyst was because she had a car accident. If that is not an example of how we don't really take the time just to say, you know, this isn't really all okay. but it took a car accident to get us in. And I do believe that was God, because it was like knocking you on the side of the head, right? And saying, you need to go take care of this. And that's a great example, though, of what we do. It's not that we don't want to. We think there are other things that are probably more important, but you're important. And I think sometimes we forget just how important we are. There's this huge summit for phenomenal women. We are important. And once you know that and you remind yourself of that, you'll start making those routine doctor visits when you're like, ooh, I haven't been to the doctor or the dentist, also part of this, in years. You should go get checked out. Cancer, from my perspective and what I'm seeing, and as a professional in this field, is really silent sometimes, and it's sneaky. And I'm not trying to scare anybody, but this is something that, as all women, all backgrounds, we want to make sure we check up on. Diabetes, sometimes it's also silent. Heart conditions, silent. You won't know it until it happens. And that's why it's so critical for us as women to go get our routine checks and to make sure that we are okay, so that we can make sure that everybody else is okay.
Yeah, and I think it's really important as mothers to be able to take care of ourselves, because our children are watching us. And if they're going to learn these patterns, and we want them to break these patterns. We want them to know better health and be able to take care of themselves and say, hey, well, mom did it. Now it's, my turn. I need to go get a doctor's appointment. So it's really important for us to be able to teach our children better and take care of our family.
Absolutely.
So what advice, ladies, would you have for phenomenal women who want to take care of their health and wellness, but really don't know where to start? Patrice, can you give us a little information?
Well, I think, one of the things that the pandemic makes us aware of is immunity. And so 70 to 80% of our immunity is built in our gut. And so one of the things that obviously eating healthy is important and critical. Hopefully everybody has evaluated what they're eating, during the pandemic, even if it's because they've been eating too much and they're trying to figure out how to cut down or whatever, because I've heard that a lot. I've been at the refrigerator a lot. But one of the things that is important is people taking a prebiotic and a probiotic. And because that revitalizes your gut and digestive enzymes, those kinds of things should be the center of your supplementation, because a healthy gut is going to take you a long way through to a healthy life. And then the other thing that recently there was a study that research out of the University of Southern California about intermittent fasting. Now, people kind of may have a bad idea about that, but it's actually pretty interesting and very simple thing to do in terms of boosting immunity. If for example, they verified that in 16-hour fasting, 16 or more, which sounds like a lot, but I'll explain to you how simple it can be, that the cells that triggers immunity, that actually when food is withdrawn, they actually recede to the bone marrow. And in the bone marrow, then they start to rapidly regenerate, which increases immunity. And this has been something that I've been interested in pretty much since probably 17, the whole question of fasting and immunity. So now there's a lot of science starting to, and anti-aging, because I had researched this throughout my career about anti-aging and reduced calories, that there's a lot of research been done that reducing your calories can actually add 30 to 40% more to your life in terms of years. So here's a simple thing in terms of fasting for increasing immunity. It also helps with weight loss if you want to lose weight, but I'm focusing on immunity because I think that's something that we should all be looking at, is how can we boost our own immune systems to be able to be better able to deal with this ever-changing world, with this world that's becoming smaller and smaller. So people are traveling all over the world and bringing in all kinds of nice little goodies for us, our immune system, to be able to deal with. So let's just say you did a 16-hour fast. That would mean that you ate at 5 p.m. You ate whatever you wanted at 5 p.m., your 5 p.m. meal, and then you didn't eat again until 10:30 the next morning. So you're really using that sleep time, adding that sleep time into your 16 hours, and it makes it really pretty easy. It's a way to naturally and conveniently even boost your immune system. So those are a couple tips I think that really bring value to people and can give, and also in that 16-hour rest that you're giving your body and increasing your the cells that are responsible for immunity. It also helps you to be more balanced and to get rid of brain fog as well. I know a lot of people have spoken to me over this. They have pandemic fatigue and they have brain fog, and they're having a difficult time trying to focus for any long period of time. So these are things that can help regenerate your immune system, that can clear away brain fog, that can help you lose weight if that's what you want to do, or just be able to get rid of some of the toxins that have built up from eating, those snacks at 3 o'clock or whatever your schedule is, the kinds of snacks that we grab quickly because we need the energy. And also it does give you more energy too. Both using the enhancements, the prebiotic, probiotic, and digestive enzymes daily gives you more energy. I'm a kind of person that I hate to have low energy. I'm either full power or sleeping. Those are my two modes. And it really irritates me if I slow down in any way. I don't like to have a pain. I don't want to be low energy. I want to be present and having a good time in my life every minute. That's just the way that I look at it. So these are just some tips. If anybody wants to email me or text me with any questions about that, they can certainly do that. I will definitely help you out on that regard if you have any questions. But those are just some simple things I think that can be done, and you'll see results. And it's not painful. It's not like you can eat anything you want at that 5 p.m. meal. So, so enjoy. Enjoy.
Patrice, Anise, and Jocelyn, thank you so very much for sharing your wealth and your experience with our community today. I think this has been an amazing piece. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I hope you are enjoying your workshop. Thank you so much, Jen, and thank you so much, Connected to Lead, for allowing me this opportunity to share who I am. So my name is Nakia Hanna. I am the founder and creator of Perfectly Packaged You, which is a hygiene-based business specifically for girls for their first menstrual cycle. Connecting to their best self starts at the foundation of who they are. And women and girls, you understand that it does start with your hygiene. If you don't feel your best self, you're not going to present your best self. For example, there was a time when I fell on hard times and dark times because during the housing crisis around 2006, 2007, it put me through a financial hardship. So between 2008 through 11, it was extremely difficult. I'm raising a child. I am trying to survive. I'm running through savings. I'm running through everything to survive. That ultimately, it put me in a dark space that led me into homelessness. During that time, I learned that in order for me to be my best self, in order for me to understand who I am, I have to feel good about who I am. So I created Perfectly Packaged You because I believe every person, specifically youth girls, specifically women, we need to understand who we are. And sometimes we have to go back in order to move forward. So I hope you're enjoying the workshop. I am enjoying it with you, and I can't wait to see your feedback. Don't forget to support Connected to Lead by donating. Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.
At Connected to Lead, our focus is to develop resilient leaders one connection at a time. Our mission is to create space for people of all ages to make meaningful connections while strengthening the leader within them. We have two primary programs, Youth Lead and Lead Now, both programs providing an opportunity for people to grow in their leadership skills and to really hone in on the type of leader they are and strengthen it. Through our Youth Lead program, we also provide counseling and case management. In our communities, through our parents, our teachers, our law enforcement, and others, we provide an opportunity to receive trainings and presentations focused on an array of topics. To learn more about Connected to Lead, please visit www.connectedtolead.org. We look forward to connecting with you soon. Awesome. Well, thanks again. Special thanks to our Health is Wealth panel, Sandy, Anna E, Patrice, Jocelyn. You all are phenomenal, and I really appreciated that piece. We are now going to move into our next break. I just want to say that brief video that focused on Connected to Lead just talks a little bit about some of our main program focuses. One of the things that we are going to be launching on the first Saturday in May is a new program that we'll be doing, which is Lead Now BIPOC. And this program is specific to anyone who is 27 years of age or older, and also identifies as Black, Indigenous, or a person of color. So with this program, it has a cultural context on leadership development, and we'll actually be putting the information out with the application information and all of the information that you'll need for the program beginning on April 1st. So one of the cool things that I really want to mention about our Lead Now BIPOC program is that we have secured 25 application fees for free. So we have scholarships for 25 applicants to apply for that program. And so on April 1st, you all will receive an email where you can apply if you're interested in participating in the program. And you also identify as being BIPOC, which is a Black, Indigenous, or a person of color. Or in addition to that, you're also 27 years of age or older. And so we will make sure we get that information to you all. I also want to give a special thanks to Nikia Hanna, who is a phenomenal woman in her own right. She is doing amazing things, and at Connected to Lead, we appreciate her because she is one of our amazing board members. We are going to send information, but she has a company called Beautiful Blossom Tea, and it is a tea company, and she has agreed to donate 20% of the proceeds to Connected to Lead. So we'll make sure you all get the code and feel free to support our organization through that. So with that, we are going to kick off our next 5-minute break, and we will see you shortly. Thank you, everyone. All right, everyone, welcome back. Hopefully you were able to take another stretch break, grab some water. We are excited to kick off our final hour. This is our final hour. We're really excited to have you all with us. Thanks again to everyone who has hung in there. We definitely want to show appreciation to you for being who you are, for being phenomenal women, doing amazing things. And so we are going to move into our next piece. We have Michelle Packlip, who will be covering Money Matters. And as women, it is extremely important for us to make sure we have our finances together, that they won't be a hindrance to us, and that we're able to do the things that we need to do when it comes to our finances. So with that, Michelle, take it away.
Good morning and almost good afternoon, ladies. Hello, everyone. Wow, it's such an awesome time. I thank you for the opportunity, Jen, for being able to speak to all these ladies, and also being able to contribute. Also something that's very important when it comes to not only with our health, but also our wealth. It all blends in together, believe it or not. I also wanted, I'm glad that Patrice, you guys were able to hear from Patrice. I've known her for, I would say, over 20 years, and she's my go-to person with everything when it comes to like health. I would ask her, Patrice, what would I need to eat if I'm going through this? So anyway, she's a great resource as well. So now what we're gonna go over is, of course, financial literacy. And specifically, this is what I'm going to go over is mainly a lot focused more into women. So I'm going to share my screen here and bear with me. I've been doing in all this time, but still I can be a little slow when it comes to presentations, but here we go. All right. So we're going to go over financial literacy, and just so you all know, everything that we want to do probably involves money. Oops, I'm sorry, my just slide here. All the things that you want to do, right? Everything from balancing, oh, what's going on here? I apologize. From balancing, our health, having peace, happiness, passion, everything that we want to do, everything that we can enjoy in life. Unfortunately, money is also involved in that, right? And basically what I tell people, money gives us options, and it also takes care of other people around us. Wow. Let's see, hopefully this doesn't keep going, but hold on just a minute. What's going on? Oh, I apologize, ladies. Let me go through this again. Oh no.
No worries, Michelle. And as you get that set up, I do want to say Michelle is actually our board treasurer,
Yeah.
and she's also a financial guru. So we'll be announcing something special after Michelle presents.
Okay. So let's just say that I actually have like the slides on my own. So just in case the internet and technology is challenging our world this morning, we can go through with just like the audio version. Luckily I have a backup. So you guys can see this so far. So everything that we want to do in life, money unfortunately plays a big part of it. Okay, seems like it's not going to participate well. So basically I'll just go over, why do we need to know more of what's going to be happening to our future? I'm going to go over some statistics just for women. Do you know that nearly 90% of women will end up managing their own finances alone? Among women older than 65%, about 60% of them are divorced, widowed, or married. About 40% of women spend retirement alone. Approximately 4 in 10 marriages end in divorce. I mean, I think that's very unfortunate. And again, a lot of that involves money. Hold on, I'm just going to close this off and just go over so we can see each other. All right. And also a woman's median Social Security income is approximately 70% of a man's. Fewer women than men have pensions. A lot of times it's because I would say, but I think it's changing. I think a lot of it has to do with when it comes to finances, usually a lot of the men take care of it and a lot of women just contribute to it, right? But I think more and more women are becoming more financial, literate and taking charge. but there's also a lot of statistics that goes over that some of the reasons why we don't make as much or we don't have enough in retirement is because we take breaks. Of course, women are the one that get pregnant and have to take time off, right? We usually take care of everything else while, while the men will take, just work and bring home income, we juggle everything else. And I'm glad that we talk about, health, that we also have to take care of our own health because we can't take care of everyone else if we're not taking care of ourselves, right? Let's see. Also, approximately one in 3 has no wealth or negative wealth. Only about 36% as much wealth as men. To sum it up, we make less money. We may experience interruptions or reductions in work history. We invest more conservatively. We save less for retirement. We have a lower net worth. We live longer. We rely more on Social Security. So just what I'm educating every woman is that we are living longer because we are outliving men, considering that we do a lot already, but we outlive them. That's just how it is. And just to give you guys a little bit of history about myself, before coming on board with the company, I'm with this company for already 8 years, but before that, I've been also in health and wealth. And I actually was a nurse. My last job was working at Torrance Memorial doing home health and hospice. So since I was 21, I've always been exposed to the geriatric population. So my nursing career was mainly with the geriatrics, and knowing, seeing what I've saw since I was 21, our elderly are mainly women, and a lot of them had ran out of money. So what had ended up happening is that they either become dependent on a family member or the government. Now, I think that's, if we had a choice, we wouldn't want our family to be the one that are burdened with us. Or anytime I educate people that anytime that you are dependent upon somebody else, your choices are, you don't have much choices. That's why it's important to prepare for the future. So what I teach, it's too bad that my slide wouldn't come on. What I teach every individual, and especially women, is the 6 pillars of financial independence and strategies, which starts from cash flow, debt management, emergency fund, proper protection, asset accumulation, and then all the way down to estate preservation. I educate them that no matter how much we make, we gotta be aware of where our money is going, right? It's just habits that we need to develop, okay? We go over debt management. I educate them on how there are good and bad uses of debt. So for example, good uses of debt, which we may not be aware of or be aware of, is like purchasing a home, as having investments in assets and education. And of course, I think we all know the bad uses of debt, which is credit cards, right? Padding our lifestyle with credit cards, buying stuff that we think we need, but that we just want, right? Emergency fund. Why do we need an emergency fund? Well, what has happened in the last year or so is like when the world came to a standstill, right? It's why either people's health were affected or their income. And that's exactly why we need an emergency fund. And majority, I would say 9 out of 10 people that I sit down with, they don't even have 1 month of reserve, right? So you can imagine like all these people that were suffering are probably still suffering right now, because after the pandemic, it's because the lack of emergency fund. They go into panic mode. That's why you should at least have, to tell you the truth, 6 to 10 months of your average monthly expenses. So I go over that with my clients, going over everything, their reoccurring monthly expenses from their bills, their cable bills, car payments, whatever it is. We educate them on how to save. It's basically changing habits. A lot of it is habits. And aside from that, also, if you could only save as much as what you have, right? Also, we give them ideas on that they have to also create extra income, right? And then also the importance of having proper protection in the means of different types of insurances. So there's like life insurance, there's like long-term care. Should you ever get sick, something with living benefits, which is really big right now. Living benefits is like critical or chronic illness that should anything happen for you temporarily or chronic, that's not going to go away, that you have something in reserves or something that's going to cover that. Okay. Also to cover any debt, or like, let's just say if you have a mortgage, that if anything were to happen to the, if you're like one of the breadwinners, that whoever's left behind will not be able to cover the mortgage on their own. So we make sure that they have enough to cover the mortgage. So whoever's left behind can stay in the home and the family doesn't have to move out and change schools and all that. And then we go over compounding interest. So importance. So there are 3 wealth principles. that if we know it and apply it, we'll be better off than most of society. So this is what the rich knows. So I hope you guys are ready to take notes on this. So this is very important. So the first, oh, thank you. I'm excited. Thanks, Jen. So there you go. Oh, I'm so glad you're able to pull it up. All right. So compounding interest. So if this is the first, what do you call this? Wealth principle. So it's growing your money. So this is a mathematical formula. It's called the rule of 72. So basically you divide into 72 the interest of your money. So let's pretend you're going to put your money in the bank and they were going to give you 1%. If you divide 1 into 72, that tells us it's going to take 72 years before that money doubles. So if you're at the age of 29, let's just say we're all 29, woohoo, with 10,000 bucks, we put it in the bank at 1%, it's going to take 72 years before that money doubles. So when we're 101, it's finally going to be 20,000. Unfortunately, I don't think anybody can retire with $20,000, right? And obviously, if we find a place, an investment that has a higher rate of return, the higher rate of return it is, the faster your money will double. Okay, so that's the goal, is finding a place. That's what I help people do, is find a place where their money can grow faster, that has a higher rate of return. Because most people, the only reason why people aren't investing in places where their money can grow more, it's because of lack of information. So the saying is, you don't have to know everything, you just got to know people that do, right? That's why we find specialists when it comes to our health, when it comes to relationships, whatever it is, we leave it up to the specialists because they have the information for us. So that brings me to the second wealth principle. The second, another reason why people don't invest in places where their money makes more is they're afraid. They're thinking if their money makes more, it can also lose, but that's not true. So the second wealth principle is risk management, is managing your risk. Okay, will you be able to go up, Jen? Okay, here it goes. Oh, back. There you go. Thank you. There's a little bit of lag. All right, so there are 3 ways how our money can grow. It can grow fixed. So for example, for like in the bank, and also it can go variable. It's kind of like a heartbeat there. Or sometimes it can feel like a heart attack, right? Variables are actually investments that's in the stock market. So believe it or not, what I educate people on also is like a lot of the retirements, those retirement vehicles are in variable accounts. It means it's directly in the stock market. So we know what happened after 2008. A lot of people couldn't retire because half of their 401ks was like cut in half. They said it became a 1-on-1K. They actually learned from it. So that's the variable. And then lastly, there are indexed accounts. So as you can see, that it participates on the gains, but when it drops, because it's not in the stock market, they have guarantees. So in an index, your money only moves forward, but never backwards. So your capital is protected. So in reality, we're going to have our money in all 3, but if you had a choice, you would probably want to put more in an index. Okay. And then lastly, the last wealth principle is taxes, guys. This is very important with everything is going right now. I know we're all excited. I mean, I didn't refuse the stimulus check. It was good. I socked it away right away in investments and emergency funds. I hope that's what everybody else did here, because that money does not come with a cost. Okay, just so you guys know, I'm going to educate you now on something that's very, very important, that's going to impact everyone, which is taxes. This is how our money gets taxed. You could either have either your money in taxable accounts, tax deferred, or tax advantaged. In taxable accounts, these your money is constantly taxed annually. When you file your income taxes, you have to declare your gains. You pay taxes on your capital gains. So every year, in those investments, every year you pay taxes on it. It's not the best place to put like your big chunk of money, especially when it comes to retirement, because you don't need it there. You want it in a place where it's actually taxed differently. But if you had money for emergency funds, this would be the best place to put it, in taxable accounts, because they're usually liquid, which means that they're accessible. You could normally just go to the ATM and pull money out. Next, we go to the tax deferred. Now, this is one of also important that we have to understand. Tax deferred investments are, a lot of them is our retirements, our 401k, 403b, 457. Believe it or not, those are all the same. They pretty much all work the same. They're just coded differently by the IRS, depending on where you work, whether you work for a nonprofit, the government. That's just how they label it, where it's coming from. But basically the way that it works, of course, before you even see your paycheck, money goes into the 401k. So that's pre-tax dollars. You haven't paid taxes on it yet. So now you see at the end where it becomes dark, when it goes red to dark. So the accumulations are pretty much the harvest. So actually every penny that your money made, that's what you're going to be using to retire off of, right? Now, when you start drawing money from those retirement vehicles, now you're going to pay big taxes, actually, because you're paying taxes not on the seed, you're going to pay taxes on the crops. So people normally ask me, well, where will that be? And I said, well, where do you think taxes are going? We actually don't know where taxes are going, right? But we can predict where they are going to be going after. We already know that our country is in $1 trillion of debt, right? And we have a big group of people, baby boomers, that are all aging and all retiring. So every 7 seconds, a baby boomer turns 65, and they're all retiring. So you can imagine, like Social Security and Medicare, that we actually had a specialist, educate us on where taxes are going. And he used to work for the United States, going over checks and balances of where the country's debt was. And he had informed us, he says, just so you guys know, for sure, taxes are going up because we got to figure out a way to balance this out. We're just so much in debt. He says, as we speak, we are already figuring out how to push back Social Security, right? How to push back Social Security. So people are retiring, at 62 or 65 because of their Social Security. It's possible that they could push it back to 70. And then also, he says, Medicare, he says, the moment that we put prescription medications with Medicare, we had already gone into some deficits. He says, so when it comes to the Medicare benefits, it's also going to be decreased. And this is why I educate my clients that it's important that you have to have extra money in reserves should you have a shortfall elsewhere. Okay, so that's a tax deferred. So just know anything that you have in tax deferred, you don't know how much of that you're going to keep. You could pay all the way up to 50, even 60% is what they're predicting. So that just means that out of every dollar that you make, if they're going to tax you 60%, you only keep 40 cents per dollar. Okay, and then, sorry. And then lastly, the tax advantages are basically, not a lot of people know about it, but basically it's places where you put money that's already been taxed, it grows tax-free, and then when you take it out, it's tax-free. And then lastly, next page, please. So now we know that we have to consistently be aware that we're always got to be saving money, saving it for now, for soon, and later. Now, we have to save it for now because for like our emergencies, and then soon, if we have things that we want to accomplish, like buying a house or helping our kids with college education, and then for yourself later. You got to remember, you don't know how long you're going to be living in retirement. Imagine especially if you have a long life expectancy in your family, if you have people that live into their 90s and 100s, you can be living in retirement for another 30 to 40 years, which most people are only prepared to live another 5 to 10 years after retirement, but we're living a lot longer than that. Okay, so when everything is said and done, the last slide, please, Jen. You got to also be aware of how to make sure you preserve your estate preservation. So this just goes over the different things, why it's important to have adequate life insurance protection, why it's important to have a will and a trust to avoid probate, and preserving your assets and making sure that you leave a legacy to your family and not just giving it out to the government. And that concludes it. If you guys want more information, this is my contact number. And thank you for allowing me to share. And hopefully I gave you guys a lot of value.
Thank you, Michelle. Yes, that was fantastic. Seriously, we appreciate the information that you shared. We also want to thank Michelle because she has graciously agreed to work with some of you women to create financial plans. So maybe you have a financial plan and you'd like it reviewed, or you want to change it. Maybe you don't have a financial plan, but you're like, hey, this information is definitely important and I need to get set up. Michelle is offering free one-on-one financial planning sessions. So it will be on first come, first serve basis. So Melissa has placed the link in the chat. And when you click on that link, it will ask you for your name, phone number, and email. And this is only being offered to those of you who are participating in the summit today. So thank you again, Michelle. We appreciate you for everything that you have shared. And so with that, we are now going to move into our final panel, which I am extremely excited about, even more so because I am moderating it, and leadership is something that I wholeheartedly care about. And so this is our Phenomenal Women Lead panel. So I would like to welcome to the stage the phenomenal women on this panel. We have Dr. Jasmeet Bains, who is a California Healthcare Workforce Policy Commissioner. We also have Candy Lewis with the Positive Results Center. And we have Mayor Rochelle Pastor Arizmendi, and I may have butchered your name completely, and I apologize, with the city of Sierra Madre. So thank you, ladies, for joining us. And also, too, we are going to have an opportunity for you to introduce yourselves. So I would like for you to start off, each of you, if you could say your name and also share a little bit about your leadership journey. So how about we start with Dr. Jasmeet?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. First of all, thank you so much, Jen, for inviting me on this. You are a superstar. I met Jen back when we were part of the Cause Network, and it was an exceptional leadership program in LA that I joined, and she was an alumni, so we connected after that. So good to see you, and so proud of everything that you're doing, Jen. It's amazing. So I'm Dr. Jasmeet Bains. I'm a board certified family medicine physician. I've also done a fellowship in primary care psychiatry at UC Irvine. I currently work with Dignity Health Foundations in Bakersfield, California. I was also appointed by Governor Brown to the California Healthcare Workforce Policy Commission, which is a commission that helps guide funding to increase healthcare workforce in California, which is definitely a hot topic, especially during the pandemic. We were kind of launched to the front lines this past year in so many ways as a physician and on the commission. It's been super amazing to be able to be at the table to help guide and make decisions to really drive healthcare forward. I think one of the biggest lessons from the pandemic that we learned was we really don't have enough of a healthcare workforce to deal with so many people getting sick at once. And that's kind of the reason why we had to do everything that we had to do this past year. And I think, I hope we don't lose that as we come out of, COVID-19 and things are opening up. I hope we don't forget that this definitely can happen again. I mean, we are not immune to a pandemic. We might become immune to COVID-19 with the vaccine rollout, but another pandemic can definitely happen. And I think healthcare workforce needs to be prioritized, making sure we have enough physicians, nurses, respiratory therapists, PAs, nurse practitioners. We need to do as much as we can. So yeah, I'm an appointed official for the commission, and I just became the chair of the commission as well. So I'm really excited to help in my duty as a physician day to day. That's my day-to-day job, and at the state level. It's been quite an exceptional learning period, especially this past couple of years, I have to say. So thank you for having me again, Jen.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. All right, Candy.
Good morning, Jen. Thank you so much for this invitation. It is such an honor to be in community with so many phenomenal women. So I am Candy Lewis. I am the CEO of Positive Results Center. We are a nonprofit in Los Angeles, and we address trauma from a cultural and age perspective. I'm a certified domestic violence, sexual assault, and bully awareness prevention advocate. I am also a suicide awareness crisis counselor, and we work with youth and young adults to help them to be peer advocates and youth leaders. More importantly, to understand that no matter what they've experienced, no matter what kind of mess is around them or who is a mess, they themselves are not a mess, but they are beautiful, intelligent, brilliant, thriving people. And teaching them to use the experiences that has happened to them or that they've witnessed to help cure and heal this world. And we also work with youth serving agencies, and that includes hospitals, doctors, teachers, lawyers, judges, police officers, and nonprofit organizations to help them understand what trauma looks like, especially from a youth perspective and a cultural perspective. And I'm also the founder of Black Women Leaders of Los Angeles. When COVID-19 hit and we all went home, except for first responders, you were still out, but we went home and we were trying to figure out, well, what are we going to do and how are we going to really put a footstep in this world? And our agency, we're working with people, but instead of doing it in person, we now have to figure out how to do it from home. And one of the things that hit me most was I missed my connection with my sister leaders. And I really needed to have someone to talk to. And so I reached out to several of the women that I work with and connect with and invited them to be a part of this circle. It was originally about us supporting us, because in order to be a good leader, you've got to start with yourself. You cannot help anyone until you learn how to help yourself. And so we got together and we laughed, we talked, we held, we cried. And then when things started really heating up, we got busy and we started doing what we normally do, which is we live, work, and worship in our community. And so we support, we encourage, we help, we motivate, and we provide healing services to our community. And that's who I am. I'm Candy.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. And last but not least, we have prestigious Mayor of Sierra Madre. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Jen, for the invitation, and really honored to be on this panel with Dr. Baines and with Ms. Lewis. And I think every month should be Women's History Month, because this entire month has been great to celebrate us and the work that we all do. So yeah, again, thank you for having me today. Just a little bit about myself. Again, you did a great job, Jen, with my name. I'm pretty impressed. I like to say it's like Arizona, Arizmendi, very easy. It just looks intimidating. But I am, I've been a city council member in the city of Sierra Madre since 2014. In our city, like many cities in California, we rotate our mayorship. And so this is my second round of being mayor. I am the first person of color to be elected there and the first woman of color, obviously, to be elected there. And the city of Sierra Madre is a very small town, and even those in Los Angeles County, I'm surprised, don't always know where it is. And that's fine with us. We like our little community. But just to give you geographically where it is, we're actually right next to Pasadena. We're about 16 miles away from downtown Los Angeles. And it's such a small town that it's only 3 square miles, 11,000 people. We have no stop or traffic lights in town, and we're just quite fine with that. But it feels like you're a little bit back in time when you walk through downtown Sierra Madre, and that's why it's the location for many movies and television shows, and you can feel that when you're there. But the beauty of our town, and people ask me, you know, why Sierra Madre? When my husband and I looked for a place to settle down, we were looking for 3 things, or at least I was. One was I wanted a bagel shop I could walk to on a Sunday morning. We don't have bagel shops, but I can go to my coffee shop. But I wanted a place that I could walk my dog at 10:30 at night and still feel safe about that. And a place where people still said hello to you in the streets. And we still have that there. And much of the reason I ran for city council was because I wanted to keep that quality of life in our city. And I still think we have that magic in our little village. But by way of work, because for many of us in California, city council, as you may know, is volunteer. Yes, we do put ourselves through this out of the goodness of our heart many times. But by day, I'm also in the nonprofit world. So I know Candy talked about her nonprofit work. I'm with a community development organization that focuses on Asian Pacific Islander communities, but really disadvantaged communities, low-income communities at large in Los Angeles area. By way of background, I'm actually a dietitian and a nutritionist. And I started there, aging myself, over 20 years ago as a nutrition coordinator. And I'm now the vice president of the organization. And we continue to do early education work, but we also help small businesses grow. We have access to capital for small businesses. We do job training and development, energy, environmental services, and also affordable housing. And just a couple of other hats that I wear. I'm also the second vice president for the Women's Caucus, so yay women again. And I'm the board chair for a couple of nonprofits, but I'm also appointee by Governor Brown also for the Food and Agriculture Board for the state of California and other boards of nonprofit in Los Angeles area. So thank you again for having me.
Thank you. I mean, come on now, everyone. Look at the phenomenal women that are on this panel. I just want to say again, thank you, ladies, for participating in this panel. I don't know how you do it all, and people say that to me all the time, and I'm definitely not juggling everything you all are juggling. And so I, again, want to say thank you. And so I wanted to find out, you all talked about some of the different leadership roles that you play, even a little bit about your journey. I wanted to find out, how has leadership impacted you? And then also, who are women leaders that you admire or maybe you've learned from? Who has any thoughts on that?
I can start. Okay, so my leadership journey actually started as a child. I had no idea that I was a leader, but people saw that I was a leader. So in school, they would take me out of a class to work with other students who were struggling in English or reading and writing. And I was always like, well, I want to be in class, but I went ahead and I worked with them. And that was my role to leadership. And then we left Los Angeles and took a quick detour to Texas and came back. And we were in a foreign area. It almost looked like a whole nother country. We were in a little town called Lenox. And Lenox is right between Inglewood and Hawthorne. And back in the 70s, when I grew up there, it really was like a different country. But when I got to the school, because we got there in summer, but when I got to the school, I looked around and I said, there's a problem here. There was no Black people on drill team or cheerleading or student council. So I said, well, I'm going to fix that. And I became the first. And then I looked around and I saw that there were no students involved in the leadership of the schools. So I became the first student representative to the Centinela Valley Unified School District. I just had no idea that all of this was in me. I just started doing it. And it continued on all my life. I realized even that I am a researcher because I have to look back to see if something didn't work. It's not because someone didn't do the job, but there was a problem and we have to find out what the problem was. And so I've learned how to do this research so that not only I could be informed, but everyone else could be informed and we could do it better. And who my leaders were, my mother was my first leader, and my mother still is my first leader, as well as all of my friends. It is true, we birds of a feather kind of flock together. And so I look at who I am around and I learn from them and they learn from me as well. I also look at single moms and aunties who don't have children that are helping to raise children. These are some of the most phenomenal people in the world because they have to work harder. They have to do more. And yet they still do it. They show up and then they show up and do more on top of that. So kudos to them. And also, of course, people like you, Jen, people who really take a step forward to help someone, and they're not doing it for, well, how much am I going to get out of this? Because we all bring something to the table. It's just, what do you bring? And the last thing I'll say is that we all have gifts. Every single one of us have gifts that were born and raised inside of us, and we have to learn what they are. Some of us have one gift, and some of us have many. But whatever you have, it is valuable, it is worthy, and you bless other people once you realize what they are and you step into it and you walk fully into those gifts.
Wow, I love that. Who'd like to go next? I mean, how has leadership impacted your life? Who are some of those phenomenal women that you've learned from, or that you know?
Can you guys hear me? I don't know, my mic went out.
Yes.
Okay. No, Candy, wow, first of all, I was like sitting here clapping inside the entire time you were speaking. No, you're very right. Every person has a gift. And I think early on, what I didn't know this, and I think somebody said this to me, and it changed a lot of things for me. And it was, you don't need a title to lead. You know that, right? And I remember going, what? No, I'm not a leader. I don't have a title. I'm not supposed to be doing that. They were like, no, it's really that power behind that statement doesn't really hit you until you see the impact of what you're doing without a title. Exactly what you were saying, Candy. I mean, I started out questioning, and then all of a sudden, once you question, you start researching, you start bringing people together, you start creating these networks, you start these projects. The titles will follow you, believe me. It's not the title you want to run after. It's really that sense of you are important, your voice is important, your experiences are important, and use your experience. And it might not even be your experience. It might, for me, it's the voices of my patients. It's the experiences of my patients. When a patient comes to me, it's really finding and understanding what it is that they went through to put them in front of me today, and how I can help lead their voice to a level so nobody else becomes that or gets in that situations. There's so many social situations that are linked with the lack of healthcare access. I mean, yes, I'm a doctor, and for me, healthcare is everything. But I've really seen it in, the voices, the eyes of my patients. Every time I have a patient encounter, for me, it's a story, it's a struggle. It's that person is so much more than what their medical illness is on paper. And for me, it's how do I get that story out there? And I started questioning. That's how I got into, developmental state task force for California for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. I got onto the regional center board. I just started saying, my patients need more resources. They need more access. And then all of a sudden the titles start following. So it's really what Candy was saying. It's really, recognizing you for your ability and the fact that you do not need a title to lead. You just need to lead. Lead by example, lead with happiness, lead with optimism, and just really get out there and lead. And every single person in this conference, every single person out there has that ability, has that magic wand in their pocket. They just need to take it out and use it. That's my best advice for leadership. And a lot of that, to tell you the truth, I didn't even realize until I started getting more involved in leadership classes, especially the Cause Network, where I met Jen. It really challenged me to think out of the box and actually, realize I did have that magic wand. So everybody has that magic wand, use it.
Now, this is what's a challenge of being third on a panel of phenomenal women, because I think that alone right there was great advice. I don't even know what else I can add. But just to piggyback on a lot of those thoughts is I've similar to what Jasmeet has shared, is that not about a title. And also what Candy said is you know, where your passion is, and I think that's what's important, is to find out what you're passionate about, what you care about, and what's important to you, and that in itself can be its leadership. And its leadership, again, does not need a title. I think there's a lot of folks that think, oh, you're a mayor, so you knew you were going to do from the very beginning, you were going to be an elected office, and it's something that you strive towards. And some people do, but that wasn't my story. For me, it was following what my passion was, and just figure out where that pathway was. As when I was young, I also was involved, like Candy was, and I was a ASB president. I was in cheerleading. I loved hearing that in drill team. But in my head at the time, it wasn't, I want to become an elected official. For me, it was following where I wanted to go and how I can serve others. And I think when you have the passion and serving others, you become a leader in your own way, and to really embrace that. And the other thing I wanted to add too is when we think about who has impacted our lives in leadership, Candy said a little bit about this too, in surrounding yourselves and finding those that you admire. For me, my parents came from the Philippines a year before I was born. And what they did is they found a group of other Filipinos that just immigrated here. And watching the fathers and the mothers of this group really struggle and finding their way here, it was something that as a child, you did not realize what you were really observing, what you were seeing. But it was a sense of how do we make it through this world that we don't know. And what they did is they latched onto each other. They found their network of support, and they did it as a group. And I think that's why it's so important to find who your tribe is, because that's who gets you through these moments. And whether it's a leader in your own tribe, a leader in your community, whether it's official through titles, I think everyone has what inside them, what a leader can be. And please reach out to folks like this. And I'm glad that there's the opportunity of the summit, because it's about all of us uplifting each other and being able to ask for that help, because many of us up here and out here are wanting to build this next generation of leadership.
Yeah, thank you, ladies, for sharing that. A lot of what you said really resonated with me because I am a very reflective person and have thought about my own experiences in leadership. And again, started at a very young age, just like you ladies. And very interesting along those same lines. I think a part of it for me starting out was really about the attention, right? If I'm going to be honest and be transparent, it was about the attention that I would get in this leadership role, and, at a young age being seen, right? And I recall in high school, and that definitely shifted because service has always been something that I'm extremely passionate about, and honestly my favorite thing to do. But it wasn't until high school that one of my teachers, Shirley McCarty at Gardena High School, talked to me about leadership and really behind leadership and how true leaders know how to follow. And it just like blew my mind. I'm in 11th grade, it blew my mind. And I'm like, what? Like leaders don't follow, like leaders are in the front and they're doing. And she's like, no, you have it all wrong. And that's when I really took a step back and said, okay, I've been looking at this the wrong way. And so I'm appreciative that I've been able to change my lens on leadership. And hearing you all speak, it just makes me think about the importance of being able to recognize that with the titles piece, everyone does not have to have a title. I think some of the best leaders are those that don't have a title. They're leading from behind. They're making an impact, whether it's in their homes or their communities. And the smallest things are those things that are important. And so we really want to encourage you phenomenal women who are joining us today to just continue to lead in the ways that you know how to lead, continue to surround yourself with others that can help you grow. And so I want to ask our panelists if you have any final advice for the phenomenal women who are on. You've already shared some amazing things, but there may be some women who are in male-dominated industries. There may be some women who have been told that they're nothing or they can't do it, or maybe some women who are even doubting their leadership abilities. What advice do you have?
I can jump in on this. And you know, given that many times in elected official roles, it is a male-dominated arena. But I think it's, whether it's male, and women can be just as catty also. So it's not just about the men, it can be people attacking each other. And I think that's when we're looking within, you know, where your confidence is and being knowledgeable in the things that you're talking about. And I talk about passion a lot because I think passion is extremely important. I also think it's important to have tough skin. And especially when I think about the elected official world and public services, it's very easy to be hurt and thinking things are taken personally. And when you are issue driven and keeping your focus there, I think it makes it easier to say, okay, it's not a personal attack, even though sometimes it is a personal attack. But again, being confident in what you are talking about, and also finding allies. And I think you're hearing a theme here too. And it could be a woman ally, it could be another ally. But when you are arguing an issue or trying to make change or a policy, is where are those allies? You do not have to stand alone, and you do not have to be by yourself. So I think looking within and being confident in that. And then also in this male-dominated world, you have to also know how to play the game. And I do encourage my fellow women leaders out there, is, hate to say it, in the corporate world, sometimes those decisions are being made out on the golf course. Sometimes they're being made with the poker game, and being able to be part of that. I think there is something good about being engaged and finding ways to connect, and finding a way that especially those that you may consider as your enemy, how to find that common thread there. And again, I think it's a matter of just making sure that you are confident going forward and finding those allies.
Yeah, I'll you know, healthcare is very male dominated. Science, engineering, you know, being a physician. It's it's really tough. And I think the toughest thing to understand is, as you climb the ranks, as you excel in your career, you're going to find less and less women. And the reality behind that is you're a pioneer. You're pushing borders, you're pushing ceilings, and you're pushing that ceiling, and you're making it available for someone behind you. So it's really, and that I didn't really understand that until I started getting onto these, you know, you want to have a seat at the table, but sometimes I'm the only female at that table. Sometimes I'm the only Asian at that table. Sometimes I'm the only woman of color at that table. Sometimes I'm the only person of color at that table. So it's you pushing that ceiling so that the girls behind you, the people of color behind you, are inspired, and they can keep pushing that ceiling up and up and up, so that one day in this world, there won't be a person that's going to look at themselves in the mirror and say, I can't become the vice president. I can't become the president because I'm a female or I'm of color. You know, there's going to be a day when that changes, and that's going to be dependent on everybody in this room breaking those ceilings and breaking it and breaking and breaking until that day where a person looks themselves in the mirror and say, I can be anything I want to be. So it's really everybody in this room together.
I agree with all of that. What both of you said is so true. And I had to take some notes so that I could be very clear. So, first off, in order to be a leader, you have to be your authentic self. Don't try and be what someone else is. People come up to me all the time and say, "Oh, I want to be just like you." No, be just like you. Because, see, you can't be me because I am who I am. I can't change who I am. I can, I can manipulate me a little bit, but I'm not going to show up and be my authentic self trying to be someone else. So I'm going to be me and I need you to be you. And then also, as a leader, not only does it not come with a title, but if you have a title, you need to acknowledge your team because you are nothing without your team. And so I remember one time I was receiving an award, and everyone who received an award went up and talked about how awesome they were. Well, I brought my team up and they all looked at me like, "What?" And I said, "See, this is my team, and my team helps me be who I am." So when I was in sales management, I used to tell my team, "Get my money right." Because if my money was right as their sales manager, their money was right first. So take care of your team and acknowledge your team and treat your team with dignity and respect. Do not talk down to your team and act like they are lower than you because, see, we have to remember there's our internal and external clients, and it is your internal client. Those are your teammates, your coworkers, your employees that can make or break you and your company. Also, let me tell you, before being in this nonprofit world, I was vice president of sales of a technology company for an organization in Glendale, and no one in the company looked like me. And I was the only female in management. And the question was, and I'm going to be very transparent, and I'm not trying to be offensive, but the question was, whose girlfriend was I, and what was I doing to them, to get that job? Now, the crazy thing is, this company had a profit margin of about 7%. And they didn't think that I could actually do the job of the sales director, so they hired me as the sales manager. But one day into that job, I came in and I did what I was supposed to do. And so they promoted me to be the sales director. And in 30 days, I took them from a 7% to a 19% profit margin. And in the first quarter, I took them to a 34% profit margin and put everyone in the company on a commission plan because it was only 110 people. So everyone was responsible for our goals. Now, what remained was they still looked at me as, okay, she's just a little short Black woman and she still has to be someone's girlfriend. The thing about that is you cannot cry in front of people who don't mean you any good. If you need to cry, go to the bathroom, get in your car, drive around the corner, or call one of your friends. But don't do it to those people, with those people there, because remember that not everybody has your best interest at heart. The ones that have your best interest at heart, first off, is you. So know who you are, know your power, know your strength. There is a saying, Ursula Burns, she is the chairman and CEO of Xerox. She says, "I didn't learn to be quiet when I had an opinion. The reason that they knew who I was is because I told them." So I am that kind of chick that I'm going to tell you who I am, but I must do it by stating facts. I'm going to do it by being very clear and very succinct. I'm going to do it without raising my voice and getting all upset because I want you to hear the message and not see anything else. So you have to be very clear with your message as a leader. That's what you have to do. And I do want to say one other thing because I forgot to say, who do I see as leaders? I see kids as leaders. And then the last thing is, as a leader, it is your responsibility to mentor another person, another youth, a young adult, a man, a woman, especially a woman, and especially a woman of color. And I don't care if she's older than you, same age as you, or younger than you. We have to give back. Don't take your gifts to the grave. share them so that someone else will be able to step into your footprints. Don't wait until you did to say, oh, I should have done this. When you walk in the door, start mentoring them. Start with a smile, say hello, greet people and treat them with respect. And then they will learn that that's how you roll, so maybe that's how they need to roll. And that's it.
Wow. Snap, snap, snaps, ladies. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate all of you, Mary Rochelle, Candy, Dr. Jasmeet. We appreciate you for what you've shared today. This has been a phenomenal panel with amazing, phenomenal women, and you have dropped so much knowledge and given so much advice. So again, I just want to say thank you very much for that. And if everyone can hold on for about 7 more minutes, we have our final video from Miyoshi Edwards, who is a phenomenal woman. Thank you.
My name is Miyoshi Marie Edwards, and I no longer see myself as that 13-year-old rape victim. Feeling humiliated, lost, in fear, angry, and with lack. After being victimized, I was going into high school, and you can just imagine all the frustration and feelings I was feeling internally. So going into high school, I was feeling low self-esteem, lack of self-love, being promiscuous, just acting out of what was happening inside. Fast forward, going out of high school, I dabbled into exotic dancing, which is called stripping. Something I'm not proud of, but as I believe it stems back from my trauma, also childhood trauma. I remember having a conversation with a colleague. I believe we was at a point where we were both trying to find each other, and she referred that I read this book from Louise L. Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. I remember reading a book and sparks going off in my head, understanding that I was the co-creator of my universe and that none of this was my fault. This was something that had happened, but it was my greatest testimony. I remember allowing myself to forgive myself. I remember allowing myself to forgive others that I hold accountable, allowing myself to feel love, being compassionate, and also realizing that the pain that I was feeling and all that I was going through and been through introduced me to the power of God. And being in that moment and being at his feet allowed me to find my purpose, which is today FACE. It stands for Fearless, Artistic, Charisma, and Elegance. It's my nonprofit, and our mission is to help young boys and girls to inspire them to become independent, fearless, and assertive, exposing them to self-love. That way they become comfortable in their own skin without fear, but knowing that all power is within them. FACE is my greatest gift. It's my life testimony. I hold it near and dear to my heart. I love it so much because those are ultimately the characteristics that I have ultimately had to grow into and become. Today, FACE has allowed other young boys and girls, ladies and women to become aware and to allow them to stand in their own power. And while I liberate other people, I also take my power back as well. My favorite quote by this unknown author is, "All power is from within and therefore under our control." I really believe that moment, reading that book and in that moment being forgiving and allowing myself to forgive myself allowed me to take my power back. It allowed me to not be a victim anymore. It allowed me to be victorious. And today I am a phenomenal woman because I stand victorious in my power. I put my crown back on and I hold it high every day. I encourage you guys to do the same. Live in your power, stand in your moment, and be the greatest gift that God has called us to be. I'm so proud of what FACE has accomplished today and what it has accomplished since 2014. FACE has been in numerous schools, such as Creed Academy Enrichment Program, Los Angeles Unified School District, Mary Methuen Middle School, and Crenshaw High to be exact. I am Faith, I am fearless, I am artistic, I am charismatic, and I am elegant. I am a phenomenal woman. You're a phenomenal woman. We all are phenomenal women. Peace and blessings. Thank you.
Pretty women wonder where my secret lies. I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model size, but when I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies. I say, it's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the stride of my step, the curl of my lips. I'm a woman, phenomenal woman. That's me. I walk into a room just as cool as you please, and to a man, the fellows stand or fall down on their knees. And then they swarm around me, a hive of honey.
Thank you all very much. Special thanks to Miyoshi. We appreciate your transparency, your honesty, for sharing your story. We appreciate you for being a phenomenal woman, for just slaying every single day, for taking the tragedy that you experienced and turning it into triumph. Thank you very much. And to all the phenomenal women who have attended our summit today, we especially want to say thank you for your participation and your engagement. Additionally, I want to thank all of our speakers for doing a phenomenal job. These women came out, they showed up, they got it all done. And we again want to say thank you to you. I also want to give a special thanks to 3 women who, if it weren't for them providing suggestions for helping with a lot of the positive affirmations that you saw, being able to help with coordinating the tech pieces today, it would not have been possible. So 2 of the women who helped with a lot of the beforehand pieces are Sheila Harris, which is my mother, and Jackie Henry, which is my godmother. Both of them phenomenal women in their own right, were able to step in, provide suggestions for the panelists and a lot of different things. Additionally, I want to give a special shout out to my girl, Melissa Estelle, for handling the tech pieces today, for making sure that the videos were playing, the links were put in the chat, and just really engaging everyone. So again, thank you all very much. And to my team at Connected to Lead, you all are phenomenal. You are amazing. I want to thank our board, Anaí Picasso, Nakia Hanna, Joe Gatlin, Michelle Packleb, and Sergio Paz for all of the work that you all do in making sure that we were able to have our first Phenomenal Women Lead Summit. And I want to let everyone know we will be having this virtual summit again. We have already started the planning. We selected the date. So March 26, 2022, we will be having another Phenomenal Women Lead Summit. So again, thank you very much. And lastly, I'm going to put a link in the chat. This is our Summit Connections link. So if you would like to share your social media, share your email address with any of the participants, then feel free to fill this out and we'll make sure they get it. Lastly, for all of you ladies who attended today, we will be sending out all of the speaker contact information and the access to the recording, also access to the Summit Connections piece on Monday. So you will receive an email with that. You will, when you jump off, you will be taken to the evaluation for today. Please, please, please complete this. We use the evaluations to help inform what we do next in the work that we do. Additionally, the link will be placed in the chat. So if you click on the link for the evaluation, then you'll be able to fill that out. So again, thank you everyone for coming. We appreciate you and have a blessed weekend. Bye.